The category is live, work, pose.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the AwardsWatch Emmy podcast. This is Emmy Podcast 34. No, it's 35. Gosh, we have not done one in a while, I think. And
Yeah,
I think
it's been a couple months.
I think so. We should have been doing them a little bit more, but we kind of got busy during this Emmy season. And who do I have with me? My returning guests, my returning favorites, and returning champions. Amanda Spears. Hi, Amanda.
Hello.
And Kevin Jacobson. Hello, Kevin.
Hello.
Hello. So we were just talking a little bit before we started recording about how this Emmy season has been. And before we get into predictions, and we're going to talk about comedy series, drama series, limited series, and all of the acting categories today. But I wanted to ask each of you how you're doing while we are still in the middle of COVID, but also two, what your Emmy season kind of looked like as a result of this pandemic. And Kevin, I'll start with you.
Well, I am doing good. I'm sort of just adjusting to this being life now, so it's less frantic feeling, I guess, for me, even though the world is still very much on fire and nothing seems to be put out of that fire. So I've just been kind of terrified of everything in terms of following what's happening in the news and our leadership and all of that lovely stuff. But this has certainly been a inflection point of a year, I think, in many ways. I think people who say that 2020 was just like a waste and the worst are ignoring the fact that there's a lot of positive change that is now happening in regard to this country in terms of our just the systematic racism and just all of the different ways that we could be doing things much better in this country overall. So I've been focusing a lot on that, and when I'm not doing that, I have been focusing on the Emmys, and this has been such a busy season. Feels like I have done double the work that I did last year, and I mean, it seems like, you know, I think the fact that everyone is home in terms of the Emmy contenders made a lot more people available, and so I have just been very, very busy with all of the interviews. It's been great just talking to certain people from Pose, for example, and Little Fires Everywhere. Those are two shows that I just was assigned every single person from them, pretty much, and it was so lovely just talking to all of them. But yeah, overall, it's just been very busy, and I'm trying to stay focused and clear on things, and yeah. That was messy, but that just describes 2020 for me.
that describes 2020 for a lot of people. Yeah. Amanda, how about you? How's this been? And in regards to the Emmys and just everything that's happening.
Well, I don't need to catch up on a lot of stuff. That's for sure. Because I've had plenty of time to watch everything. Otherwise, I got to interview Fiona Shaw. Thank you for that. That was awesome. She is the nicest person. And I think Ammonite is going to be huge for her. But also, you know, I've really dedicated myself to knitting because I can do that indoors and it doesn't get canceled. Because as we were talking about my, you know, all of my 10Ks and races I signed up for running wise have been canceled. So I have no motivation to do anything.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
How are you, Eric?
Yes.
I think
How are you, Eric?
kind of the same, maybe as you, Kevin. We're at such a point now, 5 months into this, that it's become the new normal. So adjusting and understanding how things are is a little bit easier. I'm lucky because I live in a very small town and not, like in a high rise in New York City. I have friends that, had literally not left their apartment since like March 8th. And I can't really imagine the emotional toll that would take of just being so physically removed from everybody and everything. It has to be really difficult. And that's, for a lot of people, hasn't changed much. For some people, It did change, and they were really irresponsible about it. And here we are.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks. In terms of what it's meant for me work-wise, obviously I work from home anyway, so that impact was not huge. But like you said, Kevin, with people having more, I guess, availability and time and not having to, leave their houses to go to events and all of these other kind of things, everything's been hyper focused on interviews. And the Emmys have never been the same pull as the Oscars have been for me, just in terms of attention and getting studios, really to be like, hey, would you cover this and would you interview this person? It was largely a lot of technical, cinematographers and composers and that kind of thing. And I sort of built my way up from there. But this year turned into, just the most overwhelming opportunities that I just didn't see coming. And the best part about it is that I had a pretty successful Oscar season. So I was able to bring on a really wide variety of people that I had wanted to work with for a really long time. I think I have maybe one straight white male on my roster, and that's it. And everybody else is queer or person of color, lots of women. I just wanted to give as many opportunities as possible to the people that needed it the most and wanted it the most. And so it's been, just in that regard, extremely rewarding. And it's a really difficult thing to be very happy, I guess, in the middle of a situation which is the absolute opposite of that. So when people ask how I am, and I know they're not doing great, I want to be truthful, and I want to say things are going really fucking great, because I don't want them to feel bad. But I have to be honest about it too, because my situation is different than maybe their situation, and maybe they can derive some happiness from that. I hope, maybe, I don't know, but for me, it's been a really rewarding season because I've been able to work with and help a lot of people that I really respect. So, and I get to talk to people that I really love, like Laura fucking Linney. Laura Linney.
No.
Uh-oh. I think we have to take a drink. We got to take a shot or something like that, right? We've already begun. The next
don't love us?
The next thing I want to ask you guys, again, before we get into predictions, is clearly we are not in a place in the United States where we can have a lot of large gatherings unless, you're blatantly ignoring rules and regulations and common sense. And, theaters are still not open, concerts, large gatherings, any of that kind of thing. Festivals are canceled. Telluride just canceled earlier this week, which really broke my heart. And what we still have coming ahead of us is the Emmys on September 20th. And they've already decided to cancel the Governor's Balls and the Creative Arts Emmys as live events, which clearly, it seems like the bellwether for what's going to happen, but we haven't heard anything yet about any changes with the Primetime Emmys, even though they have a host, which is what it is. And so I want to ask you guys just right out, do you think the Emmys are going to be a virtual event, and when do you think they'll announce that?
I think they might be somewhat virtual. I could see half virtual, half not virtual, based on the fact that they're going to have a lot of, international nominees. I also think just cutting back on people who would show up because their shows are nominated will cut down. If you just have all the nominees and they're presenting awards, I think you could still have a decent ceremony and do some social distancing. It just depends.
Mm-hmm. There was that South Korean award show that did film and television. That's exactly what they did. The only people that were invited were presenters and nominees. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was really
the nominees could be presenters. So, have the drama nominees present to the comedy and vice versa, and you could still have a decent ceremony.
Yeah, I think I would agree. Kevin, what do you think was going to happen?
I was going to mention that award show they did in South Korea as a good example of something they could do. I mean, I don't know what would prevent them from doing something outside if that were possible. But yeah, I mean, I sort of think, maybe Jimmy Kimmel could be on some sort of stage with some sort of backdrop at least, but I still, in the back of my mind, feel like it's just going to have to be virtual because most people are just not going to want to show up to anything.
Yeah.
So,
and what we've seen already with a whole lot of shows that are contenders this year are these virtual versions of their shows. The talk shows all did that. The variety specials, there are a ton of things in competition that were Zoom meeting events, and I think it kind of shined a light on the creativity that was at hand when you had very little to work with or very little time to make those decisions. And so I think that it will probably be something like that as well. Maybe some halfway mark. Outside might be an interesting idea, but that's like day drag, and you don't really want to see it. It's you need good lighting. You need good lighting.
Oh God. Oh Lord.
But let's talk about why we're really here, and that's our predictions. I look at my predictions and I'm like so more stressed out than I was before.
Me too.
Because every damn year we look at what we have, and all of us, and I mean nearly all of us, say, God, if there was only just one or two more, spots we could get this person or this show in. And we have that this year because the Emmys, the Television Academy, made humongous changes in how the nominations would work. It's a sliding scale based on submissions, except for the comedy series and drama series are now a solid 8. And it has not made things easier. It's actually made them much more difficult.
Let's applaud the TV Academy for being adaptable to their new situation, since there are so many more networks and shows and submissions than they used to have.
I would agree with that, but they are also really late to make changes.
Yeah.
I'm glad the last few years have seen a lot of them. But, I mean, before we get into this, would you guys agree that the increased number of open slots has made things more difficult?
I
in
think
certain
so.
categories, yes.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, because I think there's so many contenders in general that, something big is going to miss, and we'll all be predicting it, and it just won't, because there's, I feel like the support can split between all these different shows and people in a way where, someone who has been in 7th or 8th for a long time can finally just make it in because they've been 7th or 8th for so long, and we don't know that because we don't know those totals. So I have no idea.
We don't know if they're 7th or 8th, so
Right.
they might not still.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think one of the things that this will do is it might show us somebody we thought was in seventh or eighth actually wasn't all along.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have these supporting categories that are going to have, 8 nominations, and we'll get to that as we get into them. But I think once these nominations come out on the 28th, we're going to see where somebody really stood in the last couple of years, if they get in or not. Because I think
Rhea Seehorn.
Well, I wasn't going to say it yet, but yes, that's really specifically who I've been thinking about. If she gets in, then we can really see kind of how close she's been. If she can't, then she never was at all. And I think that's one thing that these increased numbers are going to give us. But anyway, I think we should get right to them.
Yes.
And we're going to start with the comedy categories, and we're going to start with the guest categories. And I want to start with guest actress in a comedy. And we'll start by kind of looking at what last year looked like. Jane Lynch was the winner last year, but she is bumped up to supporting.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday Night Live has done well here, kind of not great nominations, but really great with wins. So I think, who do we have that's returned? Do we have any returning? Maya Rudolph.
Yeah,
Maya Rudolph
is the
and Wanda
nominee.
Sykes, but Wanda Sykes is for a different series. So.
Yeah, but specifically in this category and this show, she's the only one from last year eligible again from the same show, which I think is interesting. So let's just kind of go right to it. There will be 6 nominees in this category, and you can do them alphabetically or ranked, whatever you want. I'm just going to do alphabetically, I think. But Kevin, I want to start with you.
Okay, so this is alphabetical, absolutely not in order of how I think they will be nominated, but that's just how I listed them. I have Jane Krakowski for Curb Your Enthusiasm, Lisa Kudrow for The Good Place, Valerie Mahaffey for Dead to Me, Maya Rudolph for The Good Place, Wanda Sykes for Maisel, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge for SNL.
Oh my gosh, you have a name that I don't even have on my 9 list. I need to think about that.
Is it Valerie Mahaffey?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that a lot because that's a show that could clearly and will clearly have a huge jump
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
in nominations. I like that.
And she is a previous Emmy winner for Northern Exposure back in the day. It's been a while, but
It has been a while.
Way
Goodness.
back in the day.
Yes. With
way back in the day.
with different rules and different types of everything.
Fair.
Okay. Amanda, who is your 6?
And you can see my 6 on AwardsWatch.com. My 6 are Wanda Sykes, Maya Rudolph. Wanda Sykes for Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Maya Rudolph for The Good Place, Phoebe Waller-Bridge for Saturday Night Live, Judith Light for The Politician, Jane Krakowski for Curb Your Enthusiasm, and Lisa Kudrow for The Good Place.
Okay.
I say look out for Wanda Sykes for the win. She plays
me
Agreed.
Me too.
She is the
and
front runner.
I would be so thrilled after she's had nothing to do on Blackish and earned a couple of nominations for her to finally win an acting Emmy.
Yeah, for playing a legendary comedian. Yep.
Yeah. And I've heard people say comedians hate that show because it's, they have to do so many takes. They can't really play to the audience because they have to do one without the audience, one with the audience, and they want to make people laugh. So it's really difficult for them.
That's interesting.
And she plays a real life comedian. I hope she wins.
And I love her episode too, so I would love to see that as well. All right, mine are, and I think each of us have at least one name that's not in all the rest, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
I have, and this is also alphabetical, Angela Bassett for Black Lady Sketch Show, Jane Krakowski, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Judith Light, The Politician, Maya Rudolph, The Good Place, Wanda Sykes, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
But yeah, there's there's so much room in any of these categories. There's definitely room in this for all of the names that you guys mentioned. Maybe even like Allison Janney and Kaminsky Method, if anyone gives a shit about that
I
show.
would also look out for Tina Fey. I mean, they love Tina
Oh, yeah.
Fey. Modern Love. I could absolutely see her getting herself name checked into here.
Yeah. Well, all right. Let's move on because we're going to be doing this for a really long time.
Yes, okay.
Guest actor in a comedy series. Saturday Night Live has done really well for most of this decade here. Luke Kirby, last year's winner, is eligible again.
I don't know how he won last year.
John Mulaney is the only other eligible nominee who was nominated last year. And yeah, so last year had 1, 2, 3, 4 SNL guys. It's crazy. Goodness.
Robert De Niro.
That Robert De Niro nomination is such garbage.
Choices were made.
It makes me so angry just to think about it.
So that Robert De Niro nomination makes me think Brad Pitt might get in.
Oh, well, I mean, when we get to those in just a moment, yeah. We should probably make sure and mention that. I'm still finalizing a whole lot of my choices because I have like 8 to 10. It's like, here's who I think might make it. We also, again, have 6 nominees here, so there's a tremendous amount of potential. There are some shows I don't watch, so I'm kind of shooting in the dark with some of them, but once the nominees come out, then I watch everybody's episodes and go from there. But, this is tough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I still have 8 that I have to get rid of 2. So I'm going to go last again.
I'm going to go last so I can be...
I know, I can do what I want to. Kevin, who is your 6?
You're going to make me go first every time, aren't you? All right.
Fair.
So Jason Alexander for Maisel, John Hamm for Curb Your Enthusiasm, Luke Kirby for Maisel, John Mulaney for SNL, Eddie Murphy for SNL, and Fred Willard for Modern Family.
Oh, damn it. I keep thinking about Fred Willard.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart because I think about him and I think about all those Christopher Guest movies, and part of me wants him to get in because, one, I did watch his final episode on Modern Family again, and it's so good.
Yeah.
Of the season, him and Ty Burrell, that probably was the season's best episode. God.
Yeah, I haven't watched that. And obviously,
It's a really good one. It's a really good one.
He's also eligible for Space Force, but my God, if he were to get in for that, that would be a nightmare.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because it's really bad.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. I will go next. I have 7, and I can't whittle it down. I'm having a panic attack right now.
Just do it live.
I'm just going to have to, all right. Jason Alexander, Mrs. Maisel, John Hamm, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Luke Kirby, Mrs. Maisel, John Mulaney, SNL, Eddie Murphy, SNL. Oh my God. Brad Pitt, SNL, and no Fred Willard.
Wow.
Okay, and let me just say this to all of the people from Curb Your Enthusiasm. I hope you enjoy your nomination because you will not win. That show has never won an acting Emmy, so...
Ouch.
Boom.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying it for all of those people. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going Eddie Murphy, Luke Kirby, John Hamm, Eddie Murphy for SNL, Luke Kirby, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, John Hamm, Curb Your Enthusiasm, John Mulvaney, Saturday Night Live, Victor Garber, Schitt's Creek, and Brad Pitt, Saturday Night Live.
I hope Victor Garber happens. I hope Dustin Milligan happens even. I think that could be a potential.
Who could happen? I was looking through all of the Schitt's Creek people. Is keep your eye out for the person who plays Bob, the garage cleaner, because he has a really good episode with the wingman with Johnny. They take him out. Look out for John Hemphill.
Yeah. If they really just go overboard for Schitt's Creek, totally.
Yeah, if they go overboard, yes, of course, everyone's favorite vet could get in. But I would say look out for someone like John Hemphill.
I would agree in maybe the older days of the guest categories before things like SNL were allowed to be here. And there was a time when the guest acting categories were not so star-studded. And once they turned that corner, it kind of became, oh, it's, this previous winner that was on another show. It wasn't, a character actor that had done, tons of guest work, but was so reliable and that voters knew just from that. It's a little bit less so than that.
No, I agree, but I think that if they're not going to go completely crazy for SNL this year, you could see Zachary Levi get in. I think he was in my initial predictions.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do think that, if they really love Schitt's Creek and they've watched a lot of those episodes, then yeah, Dustin Milligan has a great episode. John Hemphel's episode where he plays the garage owner whose wife leaves him. He's so funny in that episode where he's got Chris Elliott and Eugene Levy. But yeah, I think Victor Garber playing the male Moira is one you just got to be careful of.
And he's so good.
So good.
Oh my God, he's amazing. Speaking of that show, I think there is another person in, and like Kevin said, if they go really bonkers
there's two more people.
Yeah.
There are some.
Yeah,
Once we get into the supporting categories, there are a couple people that could benefit really heavily from all that love and have really good episodes.
Well, they could have, not including Victor Garber, they have Dustin Milligan, John Hemphill. We talked about Ritson Manji and Saul Rubinek. If they get more than like one other person in there.
Yeah.
If they go low, like if they go, I could see them going Victor Garber, maybe Dustin Milligan, but if they get somebody like John Hemphill or Ritson Manji in there, they're winning. It's over.
For sure. Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we've seen a lot of that, even though Fleabag was not able to get Andrew Scott in, even though they really should have. It showed us how popular it was going to be by the other places that it got into, and then obviously eventually won as the night was going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like that sound editing win over like Barry was the thing that just was my brain couldn't even connect it. I was like, how is this even happening right now?
It has to get a casting nomination to win. It has to get casting.
Yes.
Plus, you have to remember that the show got a SAG Award nomination for Ensemble, so they are aware of just how deep the bench is on this show, because it's not just the family that's quirky. It's the entire kooky, crazy town.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. All right. We're going to go to the supporting categories next. And these have 8.
Oh God. I have to send these to you today. Oh,
I know. God. And we're also going to do official predictions where all three of us are going to make our official written lists and see where we align and where we each have outliers.
And remember to listen to me, folks, because I correctly predicted all of Game of Thrones' 32 nominations when everybody, including Eric, told me that I had a alcohol addiction.
Amanda, you're going to be like that high school football guy who's like 20 years later going, I won the big game. I swear to God. I love it.
No.
It's killing me. Okay, but let's go to the supporting categories, which, like we mentioned earlier, even though they have 8 nominees, that doesn't make it easier. It's going to make it a whole lot fucking harder. One of the great things is how many from last year are not eligible here. A full 4 nominees. The 3 guys from Barry, because there are no new Barry episodes, and Tony Hale from Veep will not be here. That means Tony Shalhoub, Alan Arkin, and that's it from last year, can repeat this year, as well as a whole bunch of previous nominees in this category that are eligible again. And then we've got new people like Mahershala Ali and Sterling K. Brown for a category like this that have done well elsewhere. It's kind of crazy. And I think I will try and go first this time.
Wow, brave.
That's big of you.
It is, and I'm looking. Oh my God, what do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I have whittled it down to 9, so I've got to get rid of somebody. And I'm gonna get rid of this person right here, which I'll tell you about afterwards. And then my reasoning for who I have. All right, I have alphabetically again. Oh, wait, I'm going to change it. No, I'm not. Yes, I am. I'm changing it.
Okay, I'll go. So you
No,
got it.
I'm going. I have it. Oh, my God. I'm acting like this is a much more life or death situation than it is. But
So I'll go to give you a minute. Tony Shalhoub, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Alan Arkin, The Kominsky Method, Dan Levy, Schitt's Creek, Sterling K. Brown, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Louis Anderson Baskets, James Marsden, Dead to Me, Nicholas Hoult, The Great, and Chris Elliott, Schitt's Creek. Boom.
Wow.
oh, my God. Oh, my God.
And
I
right
think
on
I
the
should go
outside, I
next.
have Ty Burrell. So I can't decide.
Okay, yeah,
Between
that's
Chris Elliott and Ty Burrell.
I that's where I was sort of going as well. But here we go. All right, alphabetically. This is 8. I want to make sure I have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mahershala Ali, Rami, Alan Arkin, Kominsky Method, Sterling K. Brown, Mrs. Maisel, Nicholas Hoult, The Great, Dan Levy, Schitt's Creek, Mark Maron, Glow, James Marsden, Dead to Me, and Tony Shalhoub, Mrs. Maisel. And
Whoa. You have Mark Maron in?
yes, I do.
Holy crap on a...
And as I said a moment ago, I'm going to justify the inclusion of Mark Maron instead of someone like Louis Anderson or Ty Burrell.
God, you make me feel like I'm playing it safe.
What's that?
You make me feel like I'm playing it safe. Shit.
Well, it is obviously of this group one of the riskier ones, but I have to wonder and see if his lack of attention here when he kind of deserved it before, plus the death of Lynn Shelton will have an impact. And I say that without any type of morbidity, but just with sympathy and possibility. So. But yeah, I mean, I'm in just like putting this together right now. It was like Louis Anderson, Ty Burrell, Chris Elliott. Chris Elliott's the person that I was thinking of earlier that if Schitt's Creek really blows up, could get in.
He is a well-respected character actor. He
has such a good episode too. Holy crap, such a good episode. Even though it's not a comedic episode. It's a perfect.
He's so funny in it because he's dressed like Johnny for the first.
No, he is. He's really good. All right, Kevin, what do you have?
God damn. Okay, so Mahershala Ali for Rami, Alan Arkin for The Kominsky Method, Sterling K. Brown for Maisel, Nicholas Hoult, The Great, Dan Levy, Schitt's Creek, Noah Reid, Schitt's Creek, Tony Shalhoub, Maisel, and Kenan Thompson, SNL.
Oh my God.
Honestly, kudos to anyone who gets these 8 right, because I have no goddamn clue what to do here.
I can't believe you have Dustin Milligan. Wow. Oh my God. I know he's a possibility, but I
said Noah Reid.
No, Noah Reid, not
Noah Reid. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I mean, obviously, I would love that. I would love for this category to be all jammed with Schitt's Creek actors. It might be more likely that it's Mrs. Maisel actors and Michael Zegan gets in.
Yeah, right.
Or Leroy McClain playing a very sympathetic character.
Mm-hmm. That would be a wild nomination here. Because I think most of us are looking at this, at the comedy categories, as very Schitt's Creek versus Mrs. Maisel. And I know we kind of like lock ourselves into that maybe a little too much. And we create the narrative instead of kind of report.
Nicholas Hoult is the name
on it.
out there.
But I think that's realistic.
I don't have Nicholas Hoult high in my predictions right now, but if he gets in, he's the one who could stop Tony Shalhoub from winning this again.
Or Dan Levy, as I said many months ago.
I'm curious about the Kenan Thompson thing because he's obviously on my list of possibilities too. Without him, there would be no SNL, but they haven't. Thompson and Alec Baldwin have been the only nominees in this category from SNL since 2013, and Thompson missed last year. Do you think he missed, Kevin, because of the number of nominees?
Kind of, yes. I just feel like he is always going to be that top person for SNL from this category because of the respect he has, relatively speaking. He did break through that one time. I think that was kind of a big campaign that was bubbling to get him that nomination that year. I'm not really that confident in this. This is one of my like 7th or 8th, but I just am like, there's 6 open slots now, and who are they gonna go for? The people they love or the newer people? I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Let's go over to supporting actress in a comedy series, which has 8 nominations, and as we know, has traditionally already had way more than normal, I guess you would say. They've had 7, they've had 8. I think they had 9.
They've had 8 the past 2 years.
Yeah, so they're already here, and it's kind of one of the reasons that this category, that the Television Academy made these changes. I think this is going to be a super, super tough category. There are a lot of shows that are ending their run and have people that have never been nominated. So we have to look at that as, are there going to be some sympathetic votes because it's the last time? Are the Emmys really that sympathetic? Because
they're not.
They're not. So, and other shows that haven't been talked about as much, are they going to get people in, like Insecure? So, Amanda, I will have you go first with your 8 nominated predictions.
Okay, my 8 are Alex Borstein, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Kate McKinnon, Saturday Night Live, Maren Hinkle, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Jane Lynch, Maisel, Annie Murphy, Schitt's Creek, Betty Gilpin, Glow, D'Arcy Carden, The Good Place, and Emily Hampshire, Schitt's Creek, although I am very tempted to put in Jessica Lange.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God. Jessica
Lange. And with 8, it could be a lot easier for her to sneak into this.
That would be something.
It would be hilarious and gross at the same time, but totally makes sense because
she's so good in that.
She's fine in it, but I think she proved her prowess and strength getting that nomination for Horror Story, for coming back to that pretty well. But I'm going to go next, and I'm holding off on a Jessica Lange prediction in.
Well, I'm not putting her in there. I'm just saying
that
I'm
may be
going to
a
be
fatal
like,
error.
oh my God, I can't believe that happened. I'll be like, yeah, that figures.
So here are mine alphabetically: Alex Borstein, Mrs. Maisel; D'Arcy Carden, The Good Place; Betty Gilpin, Glow; Maren Hinkle, Mrs. Maisel; Jane Lynch, Mrs. Maisel; Kate McKinnon, SNL; Annie Murphy, Schitt's Creek; and Yvonne Orji, Insecure.
Wow.
And obviously, there are all kinds of outliers and possibilities, like Emily Hampshire and I Am a Boss, and Gillian Anderson would be a fucking great nomination. Cecily Strong, Katie Bryant, so many possibilities. Kevin, what do you got?
Alex Borstein for Maisel, D'Arcy Carden for The Good Place, Betty Gilpin for Glow, Emily Hampshire, Schitt's Creek, Maren Hinkle, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Jane Lynch, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Kate McKinnon, Saturday Night Live, and Annie Murphy, Schitt's Creek. Same 8 as Amanda.
Yeah.
Ooh, someone smart.
Yeah.
So we all have 7 for 7. You guys have 8 for 8. So the only difference between you guys and me is the Emily Hampshire versus Yvonne Orji.
Yeah.
Which makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
It
I
makes
think
perfect
Yvonne Orji could absolutely get in here if we do see a big increase for Insecure. I could also just randomly see Adie Bryant coming back.
Or Julie Bowen, one last time.
She didn't submit.
Oh, she didn't.
Did you
Oh,
hear? Yeah.
I did not hear.
Yeah.
Wow.
She is not on the ballot. Don't know
Yeah.
why.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
The thing about Insecure for me that I'm trying to, I guess, maybe manage expectations, but also look at things, is that without Veep and without Barry, HBO has Insecure and Run. And Run, Run got canceled right in the middle of Emmy voting. So I wonder if people had already made some, votes for Run, not necessarily in this category that would impact it, but I wonder if they looked at things, I don't know, differently than the second half of people that voted late, just in general. I don't think Insecure has ever gotten the enough attention that it really deserves. So I hope that it gets more. So there's a little bit of hope dicting in that prediction, but I do think it can happen.
She also just had a comedy special on HBO, so.
When I think about this nomination for her, I think about getting in, because it wasn't a hugely popular show, but it was clearly a show that the voters were watching. So if that's the case, then I think she has a really good chance of getting in.
I just really want this for Darcy Carden also, because I've been heartbroken for years.
I don't care about anything but Darcy Carden getting in.
And I'm just like, ugh.
I'm really worried about someone like Cheryl Hines or Anne Hathaway, who had a really good episode. I mean, I didn't love all of Modern Love, but I will give Anne Hathaway credit. I could see how she sneaks in.
I would be really upset if this brought like Megan Mullally or Laurie Metcalf back into the fold for final seasons or whatever they are. I would not be very happy about that.
And we also have to mention Rita Moreno, always.
Lauren Graham for Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with that show. I would love for it to get in all over the place because it's really good and it's really fun. But I don't know what to do about that. But I'm with you, Kevin. This Darcy Carden getting in is a must happen. It absolutely has to happen. That it didn't happen last year.
I was so pissed.
Was so sad because she had, in the classic days of episode submission, she had the
winning tape
submission.
Yeah.
Absolutely the winning tape.
Yeah, she had the winning episode. And the fact that the writer's branch nominated it only made it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right, let's keep going because we are still in comedy and we have so much to do. Let's do lead actor in a comedy series. We have 6 nominees. Last year's winner is not eligible. Everybody else is. As well as some potential returning previous nominees like Larry David, Thomas Middleditch, Zach Galifianakis, Lily H. Macy, John Goodman.
Wow, John Goodman.
I know. My God. Nominated 7 times, never won.
Mm-hmm.
It's depressing. For him, I'm sure. Not for me. Okay. Oh, this is... I will go first. I think I will go first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, you are gone. Let's take you out. And I have Don Cheadle, Black Monday, Ted Danson, Good Place, Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Michael Douglas, Kaminsky Method, Eugene Levy, Schitt's Creek, Rami Youssef, Rami.
Ditto.
Is that what you have?
To the number, yeah.
Yeah. Kevin, what about you?
And that is exactly the 6 I have.
Okay, see...
Is that worrying?
It is.
No, it's not
it's
worrying
not.
because
'Cause,
these
like,
are the obvious six.
I was gonna say I feel pretty confident in these 6. Like, I don't know who would even be 7th, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel really confident in this as well, and weirdly so because there's virtually no other category that I could say that about. I mean, there are possibilities of like Anthony Anderson or Steve Carell. God, that would be a horrible nomination. Ricky Gervais possibly getting it, but I don't think so. I think they're too far on the outside from this group.
Yep.
Good. So let's lock that up.
Perfect.
Perfect. And now we can move on to lead actress in a comedy series. And again, the winner from last year, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, not here. Julia Louis-Dreyfus, not here. Natasha Lyonne, not here. So we have 1, 2, 3 potential returning nominees from last year, a whole bunch of previous nominees that could get in, like Pamela Adlon, Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, Allison Janney, Issa Rae, Tracee Ellis Ross, Helen Hunt. My God,
Helen Hunt.
If that fucking happens, I'm jumping off a bridge.
I can't even believe you would speak that into
Existence.
Anyone that knows me knows my disdain for Helen Hunt. So, which really is it's only about her.
So, like,
I don't really care otherwise. But I think this is kind of a tough category. Amanda, go ahead.
I have Catherine O'Hara, Rachel for Schitt's Creek, Rachel Brosnahan, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Christina Applegate, Dead to Me, Pamela Adlon, Better Things, Linda Cardellini, Dead to Me, and then for right now, Elle Fanning the Great. Although I keep switching between her and Kristen Bell.
Oh, this is so tough.
This one I could do with 8 because you'll see how Merritt Weaver gets in.
That's the thing. That's the thing that worries me about this is that people, early voters from the first half of the voting period, voting her in, and then the show getting canceled, and then be like, "Oh, can I take that back?" Because the voters love her, absolutely love her, and yeah, she could come in and throw this whole thing off for 1 or 2 people. But I'm going to go with this. At least for the podcast version, these are my predictions. They can change between now and when we do the published written ones. But I'm going to go with Pamela Adlon, Christina Applegate, Rachel Brosnahan, Elle Fanning, Catherine O'Hara, and Issa Rae. Kevin, what do you got?
Pamela Adlon, Christina Applegate, Rachel Brosnahan, Linda Cardellini, Catherine O'Hara, and Issa Rae.
Yeah, I don't have Issa Rae in right now.
Yeah, Kevin, when I was just putting this together, I had Linda Cardellini was the last one I took out, and it was between her and Elle Fanning for me. I think it's absolutely possible that Cardellini's getting it.
She's so good in that second season. She has a lot more to do.
The range.
The whole show. I mean, I still, like, I hate to bring this up since we're past guests, but what the hell is the matter with those people for not submitting Katie Seagal? Like,
yeah.
On just the buzz of her appearing on
and Frances Conroy, for that matter.
Yeah.
I know.
The buzz of her appearing on the same show as her former Married with Children daughter.
Yeah,
Christina Applegate, they could have got her into this, and she's never been nominated for an Emmy. And they're only going to do one more season. I hope they bring her in again and really give her something to do.
I think they would. I think the introduction of her this season there's a whole lot of potential of what they could do next season. But I can see Linda Cardellini in over Elle Fanning quite easily, even with Nicholas Hoult getting in. But yeah, I've got Merritt Weaver sort of stuck in my craw. Kristen Bell possibly for that final season.
I would love for Kristen Bell.
That would be nice.
She's been on TV her entire life.
Yeah, I'm still surprised it hasn't really happened for her yet.
She did get a Globe nomination last year, but it really hasn't happened. Yeah. And I feel like if it's going to happen,
this is the time.
And that's why I think Ted Danson being the only top line acting nomination speaks to just the fact that he is Emmy royalty. And
he would be the first
nobody,
person to win this category twice for 2 different shows.
which is insane that that's the case.
That should tell you how very rare an opportunity he has when you consider the fact that he only has to get past Eugene Levy.
Essentially.
Which is possible, I think.
Yeah, very possible. Yeah. All right, let's go to the top category, to comedy series. There will be 8 nominations. And again, a lot of things not returning. Fleabag, Barry, Russian Doll, Veep. So we've got a whole lot of open possibilities, like Curb Your Enthusiasm and Blackish. Modern Family coming back after being gone for so long and winning 5 in a row. There could be a tremendous amount of sympathy for that show. There could be a couple of shows that surprise by getting like just a nomination here and maybe one other thing. This is 8 possibilities. I don't know what to do. My brain is
I
fried.
have a good clue.
I know. I know at least one thing that you are predicting here that I think makes a whole lot of sense.
I'll go first.
I don't know if I have the guts to do it.
I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'll
do
go
it.
first. And I will say this, we're not talking about writing or directing, but
Yes.
I believe that Silicon Valley still has the support of the writing and the directing branch. I think under the tape system, it would have in its first few seasons won a writing or directing award.
Yes.
So my 8 in 8th place, I do have Silicon Valley for that reason, but I have Schitt's Creek, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, The Good Place, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Dead to Me, The Kaminsky Method, The Great, and Silicon Valley.
Oh my God. I'm trying to count mine. Oh my God.
I think the problem with Rami is that it's going to get overshadowed by The Great, and it's going to have the same kind of tech support that The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel does.
You think Rami? Oh, you mean The Great will have the same tech support as Mrs. Maisel?
Yeah, I think it does.
I would agree.
That's I don't know. I think that's, I think that like we saw 3 shows after we last spoke. We saw Space Force, a dud. Run, a complete waste of time. And then we saw The Great, which came out of nowhere, and we're like, oh my God, this show is amazing. And you could see it because TCA supported it.
Yeah.
So I do think that if Hulu is going to get another series in, it's The Great, and it's not Rami.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to get costumes, it's going to get production design, it could get a lot of those little tech categories that when you start adding up, equal a nomination.
Yes, but I mean, then you do have those weird and random things like in drama series when The Bodyguard got in.
Just Bodyguard. Drop the it's cleaner.
I mean, Bodyguard, yes, just Bodyguard. And you have those weird anomalies.
You do, but I think you can't, in a field of 8, discount the credit of the writing branch, because clearly they have support in the directing branch that have supported Schitt's Creek. And clearly it has some support amongst other branches because it got Thomas Middleditch. You don't get multiple writing and directing nominations every season if you don't have enough support. So in an 8, I just think it's one that you can't. Yeah, so that's mine. Okay.
Kevin, what do you got?
Curb Your Enthusiasm, Dead to Me, The Good Place, The Great, Insecure, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Schitt's Creek, and Silicon Valley. Because I totally agree with Amanda that combo of series directing and writing for 5 years running is not something I think they're just going to drop, even if it's been a year off.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's going to get a multiple writing and directing nomination. And I mean, we had 4 shows end this season on the comedy side, and 3 of them gave us perfect season finales. And that includes Silicon Valley. The Modern Family is the one that kind of screwed up.
And we will have writing and directing predictions in the the final written predictions. All right. I think I have my 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, I do. Curb Your Enthusiasm, Dead to Me, The Great, The Good Place, Insecure, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Schitt's Creek, Silicon Valley.
Oh. Love it.
Yeah, you'll love to see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, to talk about Insecure, I think that's a show that feels like it had a sizable increase in buzz for season 4. It's on HBO. Also, for what it's worth, this lineup is just blindingly white.
Yep.
And I can't help but think that this increased awareness of the need for Black voices and Black creators will definitely help it, in addition to the fact that it had the best reviews of its run. So,
and it's important to note that HBO has minus the limited series race, a lot of their shows are very white.
yes.
And I say that as like Tandy Newton and Issa Rae are the first minority players they've had, or person of color, however you want to phrase it, to receive nominations. And Issa Rae did not get the respect she deserves for being the first in the lead categories from an HBO show.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
That said, I do feel she was holding Julia's spot that one year.
That's been I think the problem for the show is that it's been in the shadow of Barry and Veep its entire run, and clearly as a priority as well. And I really also believe we really saw that again this year, where HBO put everything they had into Run, being their Phoebe Waller-Bridge show, and gave almost nothing to Insecure. So it had to succeed really on its own, and it kind of always has to succeed on its own. And it sucks because it's a show that deserves more attention than it gets from its own network.
Yeah, it does. And it's airing in the summer.
Yeah.
But I do think it's one of those shows where it's either Issa Rae in the series or it's nothing. It doesn't feel like Rami Youssef's show where, like, maybe it gets Mahershala Ali in on name, but it's so hard. It's so hard.
What do we think about the possibility of Modern Family returning?
If they had a SAG Award nomination, I would absolutely say, if they had a SAG Ensemble nomination and like a moment of nostalgia, yeah. But they don't have any reason for me to believe that show, they didn't rise to the occasion for the final season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not something that happens that
right.
common.
I was going to say there's not much precedent for that.
Yeah. There's, it didn't happen for Friends. It's returning after being snubbed or not nominated is really, really difficult. And when you have a whole bunch of brand new shows and more progressive shows and all of these combination of things and shows hitting their stride, that just doesn't leave room for a nostalgia vote.
Yeah.
No, and it didn't have the season finale that would, I hate to say it, but I think, when you look at like the Big Bang Theory last year, as much as people don't like multicam anymore, it at least gave you a really satisfying season finale.
Yeah.
Modern Family kind of gave you the atypical series finale. I mean, even, The Office. Like, if they gave us a good season finale, like The Office kind of peeled back the veil of, like, they had to deal with the fact that there was a documentary about the show.
Mm-hmm.
This one didn't. So I don't know. I mean, I have it in my writing predictions just because I'm trying to think of another one, but I'm thinking I might put The Great in. It's hard. It's hard because I wanted to see, I was rooting for Modern Family on paper this year to have a good couple of episodes. And the best episode they had was the Fred Willard episode, which is why I think if they're going to get an above the line nomination, it's going to be Ty Burrell.
Yeah. I think I'm right with you there. But yeah. All right, let's move over to limited series because we're actually making decent time, and I think we should be able to get through them pretty well.
Aww,
and we don't have guest categories, so we can do it. But on the other side, this is so much harder.
Yes,
I know.
A lot of the top competitors, they're either holding them back because they don't have any programming. Looking at UHBO, Undoing. Or they're not finished like Fargo or Genius. So
Yes, and because of the, actually I don't have TV movie here, but that's fine. We're not going to do TV movie today. Because of the sliding scale of submissions and how many nominations each category gets, these are much smaller than the other series categories. So the lead acting only have 5 slots, the supporting only have 6, and limited series itself is only 5, which is I think going to, yes. I think that's going to be pretty cutthroat.
Next year, I think in a few years we'll see it back up to like 6, but this year, yeah.
So let's take a look at supporting actor in a limited series. We have 6 slots. I think there are going to be a couple of not what the fuck nominations, but like
that's nice.
Nominations that I think you can justify in a way that are not very complimentary. How about that? We'll say that.
Wow.
That's the best way that I can put that. And all right, Amanda, you go first.
Oh gosh. This category is one that's severely weakened, more than limited series actress, a supporting actress. So I have Jim Parsons, Hollywood, Tim Blake Nelson, Watchmen, John Slattery, Mrs. America, John Turturro, The Plot Against America, Lou Gossett Jr., Watchmen, and Ray Romano, Bad Education.
Holy shit.
And I would point out that Lou Gossett Jr. was the first African-American actor to win an Emmy for acting and for Roots. And I think he will come full circle with a nostalgia. He was really good in Watchmen kind of nod.
That's,
Yep.
I mean, it's a really good point, and he's on my cusp. And that makes a lot of sense. It makes a whole lot of sense.
I think in this weekend field, he absolutely has a really decent chance of making it.
All right, I will go next then. Oh, goodness. All right, I have, I'm going to mispronounce his name and sound like a total asshole. Abdul Mateen II for Watchmen, Joe Mantello, Hollywood, Tim Blake Nelson, Watchmen, Jim Parsons, Hollywood, John Slattery, Mrs. America, John Turturro, The Plot Against America.
Yeah, so you and I have one different, or two different.
Yeah, a couple. Kevin, what do you have?
This is a disaster that I keep changing daily because I have no idea what combination this will be. But Yahya Abdul-Mateen II for Watchmen, Louis Gossett Jr. for Watchmen, Joe Mantello for Hollywood, Tim Blake Nelson for Watchmen, Jim Parsons for Hollywood, and John Slattery for Mrs. America.
Wow.
That tracks. It really does.
I have no confidence whatsoever that they will embrace a David Simon show.
No, I don't either, but I think they like John Turturro.
Yeah, he did recently get For the Night Of, but I don't know how many people watched it.
Yeah, I think he's obviously the one that stands the best chance. I do think that a John Slattery nomination is what I was talking about before. He's going to benefit by being the only man in a totally female-dominated limited series, and it's a almost nothing performance. There's not really much there.
No, he doesn't do anything
compared to others. But I'm looking right on the outside, and obviously I have Louis Gossett Jr. as right there on the cusp, and he might be in when I do my final predictions. Titus Burgess for the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt movie, because he has been able to hold on longer than others from that show. Jesse Plemons for the El Camino Breaking Bad movie.
I'm watching out for him.
I am too.
Because he got in for Black Mirror. I mean,
yeah.
But getting for Black Mirror is one of those things where that show's on so much on their radar that.
True. Also got in for Fargo. He's in the club.
But Fargo, it was supporting. Tim Blake Nelson got. They've had a few nominations in that category where.
But it's kind of strange, unlike supporting actress, which we'll get to in a minute. There doesn't seem like a lot outside of the names that we mentioned that I can think of that have realistic chances of getting it. Anybody outside of
actress is stacked. I mean, I have
my
Ray
God.
Romano in for Bad Education, which is the only one that you two didn't.
Yeah, tell me.
I just feel
tell
like-
me about that. Tell me about that prediction.
Bad Education is the best we've seen of the recent bunch of TV and limited series, TV movies and limited series, and I think the fact that Allison Janney and Hugh Jackman are really strong possibilities. Plus, he's had a great year. I think kind of gives him the opportunity to sneak into this.
Yeah, he was in The Irishman.
Yeah, and I don't think that there's a lot of love for Hollywood. So I think the fact that a lot of those people could just cancel each other out, not getting enough not getting enough votes for a nomination could lead to him sneaking into this. So I don't think anyone ever thought, gee, he's an actor who could be on the short list for an Oscar. So I think he's kind of surprised people.
So what you're saying is you think that Romano's nomination would come, or snub would come, at the expense of a Hollywood actor?
Yeah, because I think, there's a lot of them that would cancel each other out. Where, they'll get a few votes, but they won't get enough support to, make it into the top 6. Where I think the people who love Bad Education are going to check them off. And I think that the fact that people are going to tune into that to see Allison Janney and also Hugh Jackman just on visibility alone.
Yeah.
And he does have a good scene opposite Hugh Jackman where he's telling him, he's like, you've done all this shit. What is the matter with you? Kind of a scene. So
he is good, and it's probably his least Ray Romano performance in a while.
So that's just my whole. I mean, I find this category so boring that I thought me putting Lou Gossett Jr. in was going to be the big scandal, and then
No, I'm predicting it too. Yeah,
not at all. I would be.
I felt the same thing, Amanda. That was going to be my big reveal.
Yeah, it's like he and I both have the same idea for our big we're going to make this stunning prediction, and it's like nope.
Same boat.
And it would be really unfortunate if he were to miss out in favor of somebody like John Slattery. I think
it would be a bigger miss if he missed out and it was like Darren Criss.
Oh God.
Seriously, I have no problem with Darren Criss. Good for you on winning all those awards, but if I would love to see somebody who may be giving one of his last performances.
This is another category though where the predictions and the narrative has been pretty exclusively only around Jim Parsons and Joe Mantello. And again, that could be our own echo chamber that's doing that. And voters are looking completely elsewhere from that. And I do think we get ourselves into a little bit of trouble by doing that. We kind of look at each other's predictions and go, okay, that makes a lot of sense because somebody else is doing it. And the Emmys are just different.
I don't have Joe Mantello in my predictions because I don't even. I think that if Netflix was wise, that's a big if, they would put their attention behind Unbelievable.
Yes, absolutely.
They would realize that if they're going to win this category, and they do have a chance to win limited series, it's not the Ryan Murphy production that's going to do it. It's going to be the one that they release in the fall. And TCA should have alerted them to that when both Caitlin Dever and Merritt Weaver got into the Best Drama Actress category.
Mm-hmm.
This is a race that they could win.
I mean, Eric Lang is even a possibility, I would say. Yeah. He has a very small role, but he was just in Escape at Dannemora, was, in my opinion, kind of snubbed for that, because I thought he was really good there. And this could just be, great character actor. That tends to be a sort of thing that shows up here, character actors.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there is room and this is one of those things where I think we'll see a shift, is that if Hollywood doesn't perform well, and it's not going to, as long as it doesn't, then they will shift their attention to Unbelievable, because Unbelievable in this political climate could win limited series. They could stop the FX HBO custody of this award.
See, I don't really get your assurance about how Hollywood will perform, because I think it's a perfect example of something that performs extremely well, and obviously it will in the technical categories. Ryan Murphy shows do very well here. It doesn't matter what the TCAs did; they were never going to go for Hollywood anyway.
But they've gone for
critics are not voters, so I'm always going to push.
But they've gone for Ryan Murphy in the past when he's given us OJ or Versace or the first season of Glee, and they you can't say the critics just hate him. I think they have.
I don't say that. I'm only talking about Hollywood and about your comparison of Hollywood and Unbelievable, and especially with TCAs. So I don't see it the same way that you do. I think Unbelievable has a harder track to get to those nominations than Hollywood does across the board. Absolutely.
I don't think it's going to get a lot of the technical. Yeah, it's not going to get as many tech categories, but it's probably winning supporting actress. It could sneak off as a lead actress win, and I think you're going to see it in directing and writing. And I think there is a chance if Netflix is finally going to win a series award, it could be not the one we're thinking of, but it could be Unbelievable. I think their best chance of winning limited series this year is not Hollywood, but Unbelievable.
I would probably agree with you there. I don't see Hollywood as a winning limited series, especially in this group at all. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm talking about nominations and especially acting.
Oh yeah, I mean the Hollywood. Say what you will about Ryan Murphy's productions, and I get some people love him or hate him. I'm kind of mixed. I think it's going to get a few nominations. I don't think it's going to do what Netflix hoped it would do.
Well, they worked their butts off in getting virtually every single person on that show on the interview circuit, as Kevin very, very well knows, as I very, very well know. Yeah. So they really did the work in getting their people out in front of every possible place that they could.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of in between the two of you, where I do think that Hollywood definitely was mixed to negative with critics, and that can't really be disputed, so I'm not surprised by the lack of TCA presence. But I also do wonder if it is a situation where it is such a divide, where the industry and general public clearly loved Hollywood more than we did, for example, and that it'll just show up in that regard. I don't really think it's winning anything, but I do somewhat worry about the divide there.
Its best chance is Jim Parsons.
Yes.
Its best chance at winning anything is Jim Parsons. And I would love for Tim Blake Nelson's to pull this off. Hell, I'd be happy if Lou Gossett Jr. won. I still right now would pick Jim Parsons to win. If I had to predict a winner I would say Jim Parsons.
I think what this year's going to do is prove a lot of the stamina of a Ryan Murphy project, and if it can withstand being not a big critical hit and still, coming in with whatever 13 nominations, then he's going to be a pretty impenetrable force. But if we do see a whole lot less, like one acting nomination and the rest just all the text, because that happened with American Horror Story too, that it started to deflate.
We might see that in All or Nothing, where it's just Jim Parsons.
Yeah, I can totally see that. But speaking of, let's go right to supporting actress in a limited series or television movie. We have 6 slots here. I could. I'm struggling hard with this one, and that's almost exclusively because of the sheer volume of Mrs. America contenders here.
Oh,
There,
God.
there could be 2, there could be 3, there could be 4.
There could be 5.
That would be not shocking, but it would require a level of snubbing of other contenders that would be pretty intense.
Yeah.
So, Kevin, let's start off with you.
Yeah, this is one I've gone all different directions in all season long. I loved Mrs. America, but I sort of wish it just wasn't here so that we could put in like so many other great contenders. But anyway,
it's the Game of Thrones of this category.
Yeah, pretty much.
This one's not lacking in competitors.
I know. So I have Uzo Aduba for Mrs. America, Rose Byrne for Mrs. America, Toni Collette for Unbelievable, Margot Martindale for Mrs. America, Sarah Paulson for Mrs. America, and Jean Smart for Watchmen.
Oh my God, yours are close to mine.
Oh my.
I was on Tracy Ullman for a while because they also love her, but
I know. And you know what the thing that gets me about Tracy Ullman is she has such a good episode. And remember, she beat all those men for variety series or talk show way back in the day.
Oh, yeah. She has an extensive Emmy history, but so does almost everyone here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's what makes this such an incredibly rich category, but so extremely difficult because there are very few that are not former winners here, and none except for none that are also previous nominees.
Yeah.
This of like who I think all of us are thinking are the most realistic. Mostly, maybe Rose Byrne aside.
And she has been nominated in the past, so we can't say.
Right.
Oh God, that's right. See, that's
Yeah.
Everybody here. That's what makes this category so difficult.
And I feel like a jackass just not predicting Allison Janney here because she is who she is in the Emmy world. But
see, that's who I see. That's my difference between you and I.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Okay. So my 6, since Kevin told me to go ahead, are Toni Collette, Unbelievable, Jean Smart, Watchmen, Margot Martindale, Mrs. America, Allison Janney, Bad Education, and Sarah Paulson and Uzo Aduba, both for Mrs. America.
Oh my God.
I just don't really think Rose Byrne does enough for me personally.
No, she doesn't do enough for me, regardless of who she plays. And
she has a lot of screen time.
It's because of who she plays that I feel like she's going to suffer.
Yeah, I don't think she does enough. That's the problem. She has the most noteworthy role, but she doesn't do enough. And I oh God. But I still think Toni Collette is out for the win.
I totally understand Kevin's prediction of her in here, but I do think the show, because its focus and its point of view is Phyllis Schlafly, just doesn't give. I don't think it gives the audience what they wanted in this story, and I think they wanted something that was a little more Phyllis versus Gloria. And that Gloria would be as
passive.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I hate to say it as a woman, but it's a weird thing that Margot Martindale's character kind of, and even Betty Friedan for that matter, kind of point out is that, you know, Gloria Steinem didn't go and debate Phyllis Schlafly. Right. She like preaching to the choir, and for whatever reason, that kind of gets me to the point where I'm like, oh, I can't deny the fact that, you know, they're kind of right. Is that she never went out of her way to debate this woman, where she could have probably, with name recognition, shut her down.
Yeah. All right, here's my predictions, and these have gone through so many iterations.
Is just their favorite
so
person
many
ever.
Well, not recently, but okay.
Well, wouldn't it be funny if you won the trifecta of supporting actress races?
No, it would not.
I know. I just think it's kind of funny. It's like, I have the full collection.
The full
I'm
set.
the
Yes.
supporting
All
actress
right.
in the history of
You'll never catch me now.
I have an Oscar, a Golden Globe, a SAG Award, everything for supporting actress.
Yeah.
I am the greatest of all time in supporting.
Goodness. No, I mean it's sure. All right. I'm just I'm just gonna move on. My predictions on these, which again will probably change in a couple of days, are Uzo Aduba, Toni Collette, Patti LuPone, Hollywood, Margot Martindale, Mrs. America, Sarah Paulson, Mrs. America, Jean Smart, Watchmen. Oh my God.
Patti LuPone, huh?
Yep.
I have Patti LuPone in there. If Norbert Leo Boots couldn't get in last year for Fosse Verdon, I don't think she can get in.
Why?
I think there's a big difference between those two people.
I know, but I don't think she really does anything really personally that.
She does almost more than anybody in the show. She has tremendous episodes. She is a driving force in the change that the show is representing for that era. So I think she has more than enough to do, more than a lot of the people that are contenders in this category, like Uzo Aduba.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. There's so many good actresses we haven't even
No, I know. Well,
mentioned.
how is it that we can even talk about like the limited series without something like Years and Years and Emma Thompson being like in the conversation? Because when that show came out, which feels obviously now like a millennia ago.
Yeah.
But what about Melissa Leo or Hong Chow? I mean, we haven't even
Oh my
mentioned.
God, I would love Hong Chow.
Yeah.
I mean, Hong Chow in that final episode. Oh my
Amazing.
God!
I
Even
know.
in her first episode, she's so freaking good.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of those things where it's like I mean, if I love Patti LuPone, if she got in, good for you. But I would much rather a Hong Chow.
Yeah, agreed.
What about, you mentioned Melissa Leo, but what about also Rosie O'Donnell?
Yeah, right.
What's that?
That's cute. You're funny.
Oh my goodness.
You're cute.
I'm just saying.
I just think there's
Maybe
so
they-
many
maybe
contenders who
I'll
are
have
at the
Janet,
top.
too.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many people from Watchmen and then Unbelievable for Toni Collette and everyone from Mrs. America that, like...
The good news for Toni Collette is she is sitting pretty for the win.
I sort of agree.
I think after that SAG nomination and no one's caught her, she looks really, really good for a win. Because however you slice this, none of these women have had enough, and she might be the collective win for Unbelievable.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Although I would love for Caitlin Dever to upset.
That would be incredible.
Deserving.
Oh my God.
I would
be
cry
insane.
Yeah.
more than Jurel Jerome's win
Yeah.
last year.
All right, we'll get to that in a minute because I want to do lead actor in a limited series TV movie first, and these only have 5 spots.
Mm.
On a Papa Xanax.
This is a really crazy category because what we've seen in the last few years as a trending thing are younger winners
Limited series.
and non-white winners.
True.
And
Ugh.
we only have realistically, I think, one contender for that, and he probably is the least, not the least likely to get in, but I'm looking at my list and I have to drop him out now. But how can I do that when I look at what's trending?
Well, are you talking about Andre Holland?
I am not
Jeremy Pope, right?
talking about Jeremy Pope in
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Oh,
I don't know if
there's no way in hell that's going to happen.
well, if you had listened to what I just said 10 seconds ago, Amanda.
Oh, I
that's
listened
exactly
to you.
what I
I'm
said.
just saying.
I'm looking at the list. I'm looking at what has trended in the last few years. And that's how I have to look at predictions too. I can't just look at what I think or want. I have to look at where things are going. And if there are really that few
Oh, boy.
men of color that are in a position to get in here, then somebody like Jeremy Pope makes sense as a nominee over somebody that everybody else is predicting as.
Well, you have to
the-
also keep in mind that since Benedict Cumberbatch won, which whether you want to, we can argue all day over whether that's a movie or not. We haven't seen a movie winner.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's been a general trend overall with acting here.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but again, this is a year where I could see how Hugh Jackman could pull this off.
Well, I thought that a while ago until, just pretty recently, but I think there's only Hugh Jackman and Aaron Paul are the only realistic TV movie nominees here.
Yeah.
And it depends. They obviously do love Aaron Paul. We do know that. But do they love him enough to get him in here again?
No. No.
It would be the kind of thing where if he does show up, he will be replacing a lot more deserving people.
Yes. Jeremy Irons just got into TCA, so I think for him that's a really good sign.
Wait, who?
Jeremy Irons.
He did not get in for TCA.
No.
Who am I thinking got in for TCA?
Mark Ruffalo?
Yeah,
Yeah,
only Regina King did.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm thinking of something else.
Because that would be crazy.
Yeah.
But all right, let's just go to it because this is going to be hard enough. But once we get to actress, that's it's a nightmare. Kevin, who do you got?
Haha, you have to go first.
Oh, God.
I'm the worst host ever.
You are probably going to laugh at one of these predictions, but I think it's weirdly possible. Okay. Russell Crowe for The Loudest Voice. Chris Evans for Defending Jacob. Jeremy Irons for Watchmen. Hugh Jackman for Bad Education. And Mark Ruffalo for I Know This Much Is True.
I've been thinking about this Chris Evans possibility.
He has been campaigning so aggressively, and so has Apple in general for this show.
I know.
And this is the first real opportunity to give him any kind of serious recognition, obviously. So I have this weird gut feeling. So I don't know.
I'd be happy with that because I do like that he's not like trying to stay in this like superhero mode.
Yeah.
I get it. I really get it. Oh my God.
So I don't have Aaron Paul.
I don't have Aaron Paul either.
And I wish I could put in Paul Mescal, but I am so nervous about just the divide there, possibly with like Twitter and real life.
So I totally understand that, and that's something that is certainly a part of, us doing these predictions. Is how much are we? What are we holding as the reasons? Because as always, the Emmys don't have a precursor calendar the way that the Oscars do. We don't have things laid out in front of us, so they can be stranger and more campaign driven. But all right, I'm gonna do mine, and I just think we're all three of us are gonna be really different from each other on this.
I think we can agree on 3 out of the 5. So I think we all agree on Ruffalo, Jackman, and Crowe.
Yes, I think we are all in agreement there. Okay, with that in mind, my other 2 are Paul Mescal and Jeremy Pope.
Going young.
Boy.
Pretty young.
It
Oh,
is.
boy.
Mm-hmm.
It is. You've got these 3 Oscar nominees and a winner going up against 2 absolute, like, brand new television actors, because Pope does have Tony history, but these are brand new TV people. And I don't know, I'm feeling it. I totally understand, and I totally get is this a Twitter thing? I get it. And I don't know if these predictions will hold up in a few days, but we'll see. Amanda, who are your other 2 outside of Crowe, Jackman, and Ruffalo?
Chris Evans, Defending Jacobs.
Okay.
Oh my God.
And Jeremy Irons.
Oh,
Yeah.
so we have the same.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm the outlier. God damn.
Yeah.
This is becoming a trend.
I think that Chris Evans is one of those very charismatic young actors that you can just see, like, okay, he took a step back, he did some TV, but I'm also really worried about Sacha Baron Cohen just sneaking in for The Spy, because I didn't even know when I saw that was Sacha Baron Cohen. You see,
Yeah.
I worry about that, but I did not think that, when I saw The Loudest Voice, that Jackman would, at this stage in the game, stand a chance in hell of winning, and he could win. Because I think if it comes down to the Aussies, it's hard to say if they're going to go TV movie. But personally, I think Jackman gives the best performance out of the top three. Ruffalo makes me want to pop like an antidepressant. That thing is, oh my God.
It's a tough set.
It's a tough watch, even just 1 hour at a time. I'm like, oh my God, I got to watch the end of this.
Yes. Agreed.
He plays twins, and you just know what's going to happen before it happens.
I would not hate to see him snubbed.
Ooh.
Not feel.
I'll just say that. It will never happen because never, ever, this is like a role that is tailor-made for awards.
If they'd just given him the damn Emmy for The Normal Heart, we wouldn't be in this situation.
Yep.
Sorry.
I think that's very,
If
very
they just wouldn't have given it to him, frickin' Benedict Cumberbatch. Sorry.
Also, I'm still bitter that they gave it to Martin Freeman over Matt Bomer, but that's another discussion.
Oh my God.
I am too.
It's like, why don't we say we're homophobic? Like, seriously,
Pretty
if stand up there and say that, then it would have been, because the look on Matt Bomer's face is, what the happened?
And Joe Mantello was like openly pissed. I remember seeing that.
Yes.
I mean, Jim Parsons is holding his fourth Emmy for The Big Bang Theory, and he's like, how the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
Like, seriously? I know I shouldn't have won, but come on.
We could do a whole like retro Emmy episode on that year.
Yeah.
But
I will say the one thing that helped Martin Freeman was he was in The Normal Heart and Fargo, not Normal Heart, he was in Fargo and Sherlock, and
True.
he was, however you want to say about Sherlock, he was amazing in Fargo. That was the best performance of his career so far. So if that's what helped him in supporting actor, he was my second place.
I can see that.
Yeah, I hate to be the person to put that out there, but Colin Hanks was in that category, and if they did watch some of those episodes, he was exceptional in Fargo. I can't say it's complete one way or the other.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to lead actress in a limited series or television movie. Again, we have just 5 spots here.
Heartbreaking.
And I don't think there are actually any TV movie contenders in here.
So do we all agree?
Even in like the top 10.
Weaver and Deaver.
You keep saying Weaver and Deaver, and it just makes me laugh every single time. No, let's just go right through them. I will go first this time. Cate Blanchett, Mrs. America. Caitlin Deaver, Unbelievable. Regina King, Watchmen. Kerry Washington, Little Fires Everywhere. Merritt Wever, Unbelievable. Sorry, Reese. Kevin.
Hey, well, I have Cate Blanchett, Caitlin Deaver, Regina King, Kerry Washington, Merritt Wever.
Oh my God! Yay! I'm on the winning team.
We finally match up.
Well, I'm going to be the one that's right, because I'm going Blanchett, King, Weaver, Deaver, and Helen Mirren for Catherine.
Oh, God.
Come on.
They love her, and that 5th spot is so wide open because I hated Little Fires Everywhere, and I will refuse. I could see Octavia Spencer sneaking into this spot. So for
Shira
now,
Haas for Unorthodox.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with their favorite actress. She's been nominated like 7 times in this category. She's the all-time winner. She is the Meryl Streep of limited series actress.
There is no way, Amanda, that you can convince me, regardless of Mirren's Emmy history, that Catherine the Great has one shred of buzz to get in here.
No, but I think she could name check her way in, and I don't see. I think Spencer has a chance. I think we could see, Shira Haas for Unorthodox. I personally don't see Washington or Witherspoon getting in for a mediocre series, frankly.
Yeah, but that's your personal opinion.
I know, but that's just
you're letting your personal opinion dictate your predictions.
Yeah, but I don't know who's number 5, and I can't decide between Witherspoon or Washington, so.
I mean, I feel very strongly that Washington and Witherspoon are 5 and 6.
I do too. I absolutely.
And it's just a matter of which one gets in. Quite honestly,
absolutely feel the same way.
But what about Octavia Spencer? What if she gets in for Self-Made? Or
I don't even think Spencer is in the top 10
on the radar.
Because I've got Michelle Dockery over that. I've got Daisy Edgar Jones, Shira Haas, Zoe Kazan. All way ahead.
That's why I'm just putting Helen Mirren in for now, because I don't know what else to do. So
I get the idea of that. And again, if we were talking about 8 months ago, it would make perfect sense. But there hasn't even been a whisper about that show. And especially when you had Hulu's The Great come out and take up all of the oxygen for this era. I just don't.
Maybe I'll put Michelle Dockery in. I do think she deserves an Emmy win in her future, but
I think Michelle Dockery is a possible spoiler here.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, she should have won for Godless. So
even though I do agree with Kevin that I think 5 and 6 are Washington and Witherspoon. Witherspoon is in such a strange place where she has so many things in contention.
I think that's what could help her take out Washington, is that people might respect all the jobs she's created.
Or the support will be split between the 3 of her shows and she won't get in anywhere.
That's kind of what I'm thinking too.
That was my thing that brought me over to Kerry Washington. I know she also has American Son, but I don't really see it siphoning off many votes there.
I don't either.
I don't think anyone saw that.
The same boat as you, Kevin, with thinking about how Witherspoon is potentially will shake out.
And also, for what it's worth, I think it would be kind of a bad look if Reese Witherspoon got it and Kerry Washington didn't. For that show in particular.
Even though I think Witherspoon's performance is better than Washington's.
I think
they're
that
both
of
good,
all of these, this is the one where we might see a newcomer. I could see how it's not Blanchett versus King, where Caitlin Dever could sneak off with this, because she is the only actress and unbelievable in every episode.
Yeah. I would love to see Shira Haas or Daisy Edgar Jones being able to break into this category.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the top. Limited series, 5 slots. Who's getting in? Amanda, you're first.
Okay. I have Mrs. America, Unbelievable, Watchmen, Hollywood, and I know this much is true.
So you still think Hollywood is getting in after all of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a weakened field, and they do love Ryan Murphy, so I can't discount it.
All right.
Especially with all those tech nominations. I was hoping for something more.
You thought there would be more.
I thought it would be better. I didn't need this retelling of Hollywood. Personally, I like Joan versus Betty more than this. But
yeah.
All right, Kevin, what do you got?
I have Defending Jacob, Little Fires Everywhere, Mrs. America, Unbelievable, and Watchmen.
And I have Hollywood, Little Fires Everywhere, Mrs. America, Unbelievable, and Watchmen. So that puts all of us at 3.
You do not have Mrs. America?
Yes, Hollywood, Little Fires Everywhere, Mrs. America, Unbelievable, and Watchmen.
Okay.
So I think all of us have 3.
Those 3
that align, and then a combination of Hollywood, Little Fires Everywhere, Defending Jacob, and I know this much is true.
Yeah.
And and probably very little outside shot for things like Normal People or The Plot Against America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And unorthodox.
And yes.
Yeah. I mean, defending Jacob is kind of just like my steak eater's choice in this group. You know, I just think it's straight down the middle, type like the Alienist or Genius or even Escape at Dannemora. Like, it just feels like that kind of a show that randomly gets in that not a lot of people predict, but they just happen to like this general vibe. Plus, they've been campaigning so much. Yeah.
I think you're completely right in that thinking, and it also does represent a different style of limited series than a lot of this. It is very thriller driven versus just drama driven. Yeah. So I think there's potential there, and like with it, I think it will also, and we'll get to the morning show in a little bit when we talk about drama. I think it will tell us where Apple is in its first year as a television network as well. It'll tell us a lot. All right. If we don't have any more thoughts about limited series, let's go over to drama series, which lasts for goddamn 85 hours.
Let's go for it. I got 2 more hours to kill, so.
Well, I don't want to put any of us in an early grave, whether we are participants or listeners. So let's go right into it. Let's go to guest actress in a drama series. There are 6 spots here.
And to those who on Twitter said, I don't know what I'm talking about, I did check the rules, and you cannot be nominated twice in the guest category.
What?
Okay.
I thought you could.
You're talking about Cherry Jones. Do you have that in front of you? That rule?
I don't have it in front of me now. But okay. I know I checked it, double checked it. You cannot in any acting category be nominated twice.
All right. I'll have to talk to Riley Chow about that and consult the rule book. This is turning into a Chris Wallace Funk's News interview, but anyway. All right. Yes, Cherry Jones is returning as a nominee and a winner from Handmaid's Tale last year, but she also has Succession. So
I'm not going to be nominated for The Handmaid's Tale. But...
Who do we have? We also have Alexis Bledel, eligible again. She won in 2017. We have a lot of returning possibilities like Felicia Rashad and Cicely Tyson, Laverne Cox. So 6 spots. Who is getting in? And Amanda, go.
Okay, so again, I don't have the rule in front of me, but I did check. You cannot in any category, acting category, be nominated twice. So for drama guest actress, I have Cherry Jones for Succession, Felicia Rashad, maybe this time you'll be lucky, for This Is Us, Alexis Bledel, The Handmaid's Tale, one last time for Cicely Tyson, for How to Get Away with Murder, Jane Lapierre for The Crown, and Laverne Cox for Orange is the New Black, because they love to nominate her.
Kevin.
Well, this is awkward because I have Cherry Jones twice.
You can't have it twice.
Well, I will check those rules after this.
Oh, I'm going to look it up while you guys are talking.
All right.
Yeah, you should, since you're the one that's asserting it, Amanda. You should come with your receipts.
So I have Alexis Bledel for The Handmaid's Tale, Laverne Cox for Orange is the New Black, Julie Dretson for The Handmaid's Tale, Cherry Jones for The Handmaid's Tale, Cherry Jones for Succession, and Cicely Tyson for How to Get Away with Murder. If that is the rule, I will take out Cherry Jones for The Handmaid's Tale and put in Felicia Rashad for This Is Us.
This category is stressing me out because The Handmaid's Tale has done so well here, including with names where people were like, what, who, how, which is like a perfect spot for somebody like Julie Dretson to get in.
Yeah. I just compare that to like Kelly Jenrette, who got in a few years ago.
Too.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm thinking too. But then I'm looking at this going, oh my God, it's going to be like all repeat nominees, except for like maybe one or two. Am I playing it that safe? So I have no faith in the 6 names I'm going to say right now, but here we go. Alexis Bledel, Handmaid's Tale, Laverne Cox, Orange is the New Black, Jerry Jones, Succession, Jane Lepidere, The Crown, Felicia Rashad, This Is Us, and Cicely Tyson, How to Get Away with Murder. Which means I have all these Handmaid's Tale actresses off the list, which doesn't make sense.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense. Pamela Adlon. Oh my God. I forgot about, yeah. Oh my God, there's like so much.
At the top of the ballot.
And at the top of the ballot. Exactly. Oh, I don't know. This is, yeah, I mean, this is like where Jessica Lange got in last year just on the strength of her name and history, and that is it. Oh, it's driving me insane. All right, we're moving on. Amanda, if you find that, you let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Guest actor in a drama series, 6 spots. Bradley Whitford won here last year, but he has moved up into supporting. Who else do we have? Michael J. Fox is eligible. He's been nominated many times for The Good Wife. He's here for The Good Fight. Gerald McRaney won in 2017, was nominated again. He's eligible again. We've got some returning nominees from last year, like Michael Angarano, Ron Cephas Jones, who's a previous winner. And I think that might be it. So let's look at some 6. Kevin, I'm going to make you go first.
Okay, well, I have James Cromwell for Succession, Charles Dance for The Crown, Ron Cephas Jones for This Is Us, Gerald McRaney for This Is Us, Andrew Scott for Black Mirror, and Martin Short for The Morning Show.
What the fuck? Oh my God. I'm like going through my list of, I think I have like 8 or 9, and I just started pulling, names out, and I pulled out Martin Short, and oh my God. Oh, I would hate for that. Oh, Jesus.
Just a weird gut feeling about The Morning Show.
I get it. More
on that later.
Yes. I totally understand it, though. I really do. The thing I'm thinking about mostly is what's going to happen with This Is Us, which, year to year has gotten less and less, but still does pretty well in these guest categories.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So and that now has two competing previous winners.
Right.
But
Mm-hmm.
both getting in? I don't know. I don't know what to do with Andrew Scott, and the category placement for him is so insane.
Mm-hmm.
No, talk about make it make sense. Nothing makes sense about this at all. Will there be goodwill about getting snubbed last year? Or does the fact that he's actually kind of the lead in this help him above everybody else? Or will there be like a weird pushback of he absolutely doesn't belong in this category and I'm not voting him no matter what? I don't know. Make it make sense. Okay, here are my 6. Jason Bateman, The Outsider. James Cromwell, Succession. Charles Dance, The Crown. O.T. Benley, The Handmaid's Tale. Ron Cephas Jones, This Is Us. Gerald McRaney, This Is Us. Oh, good Lord. It doesn't make any sense. All right, Amanda, who's your 6?
Oh, my 6 are Charles Dance, The Crown, James Cromwell, Succession, Ron Cephas Jones, This Is Us, Andrew Scott, Black Mirror, Dean Norris, Better Call Saul, and O.T. Benali, The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, you really put the emphasis on fag there, Amanda.
Well, I didn't mean
Wow.
God, I'm trying.
I was going to say that to no matter who of us really did that, so it doesn't matter. I just wanted to because it was funny. Yeah, okay.
He's be accused of a hate crime. Come
So
on.
you and I both have him.
Yeah, I think he's
I'm
going
the
to
only-
benefit from not being in supporting this time.
We all have Charles Dance. We all have James Cromwell. We all have Ron Cephas Jones.
I really want to know what happened with the sister now that we've heard so much about about her on Succession.
Yeah. And I'm the only one that has Bateman in.
I just don't think that series has the support it needs, and I'd also like look out for Mindhunter because we have that actor playing Charles Manson and did a pretty job.
Yeah.
And
Damon Harriman.
They're very good about getting people in for a one-time kind of nomination. So.
And he got to play him twice in 1 year.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. Let's wrap. We're wrapped on that. Perfect. Let's go to supporting actor in a drama series. 8 spots. 8 massive spots. Obviously, Game of Thrones is not here, so that takes away winner Peter Dinklage, Alfie Allen, Nikolai Coster-Waldau. Who else is not going to come back? Michael Kelly, he's not coming back. As I mentioned before, Bradley Whitford won in guest. He is bumped up to supporting, which I feel like he's got a pretty good chance to get in. This is a really, really tough category. There are going to be some, like always nominated folks, and some brand new chances for series that are really cracking and breaking through, and brand new performances that we will talk about in just one moment. All right, so 8. What do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, girl.
Fuck my life. So I got to drop 2. People.
Mm-hmm.
We should mention Sarah Snook decided to go supporting.
Yes.
Yeah. Which, it's a tough category whether she was going to be lead or supporting, but the idea of Shiv having to go supporting and not getting to be lead is actually perfect Succession like sense. So it's almost funny.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so stressed out about this. Okay, I'm gonna go first, and I'm not happy about this one bit.
Noted.
All right, make sure this is actually 8. It is. Jonathan Banks, Better Call Saul. Billy Crudup, The Morning Show. Kieran Culkin, Succession. Giancarlo Esposito, Better Call Saul. David Harbour, Stranger Things. Josh O'Connor, The Crown. Tom Pelphrey, Ozark. And Bradley Whitford, The Handmaid's Tale. Kevin.
Well, I have Jonathan Banks, Better Call Saul. Billy Crudup, The Morning Show. Kieran Culkin, Succession. David Harbour, Stranger Things. Matthew McFadden, Succession. Mandy Patinkin, Homeland. Tom Pelphrey, Ozark. And Bradley Whitford, The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh
my God.
No. That breaks my heart.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about him.
I get it. I feel it. Amanda, what do you got?
First of all, this is very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something I keep going back and forth with the Mandy Patinkin, especially.
Yeah.
Too. I just took him out right now.
I took him out. I've taken him out, but I would not be surprised.
That last season was very well received.
And he did, spoiler alert, die. So, that helps him. Well, they do love that,
They do love that. Yes.
I think Tom Pelphrey should submit episode 9. I should mention that. Yeah, especially that monologue at the beginning. Oh my God. And that look at the end.
That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. Yeah.
And Laura Linney 10. So now that I've wasted time getting these up, my 10, my 8 are, and again, because of SAG, I have to include Billy Crudup and David Harbour, but my 8 are Jonathan Banks, Better Call Saul, Kieran Crudup, The Morning Show, Bradley Whitford, The Handmaid's Tale, David Harbour, Stranger Things, Succession, Tom Pelphrey, Ozark, and Josh O'Connor, The Crown. But I would say look out for McFadden.
Yeah.
He gets double nominated. He is a very respected character actor in England. He could absolutely, especially with what he does in those last 2 episodes of Succession, sneak off with that trophy, because he's not as flashy as Kieran Culkin, but
Yeah.
he's so good in those final few episodes.
Yeah, I mean, we have, between the three of us, we have all the exact same players, because Mandy Patinkin and Matthew McFadden are my 9 and 10. Not like really in that order, but when I'm looking at my list right now, those are the two I have just kind of keep moving around. And I might say it would be at the expense of Giancarlo Esposito, but it's so hard to discount Better Call Saul. Even though that show can never win anything, they will nominate the shit out of it.
And I would also mention this category has a real minority problem, because
I know.
I'm not kidding. They've never had an African American winner, and it's been years since Jimmy Smits won this category for LA Law.
Yeah, which is why Esposito is like the lone wolf.
Well, don't count out somebody like Jeffrey Wright for Westworld, because
I had him at one point.
He's one of those where, like, we think we've got it narrowed down to a 9 or a 10. He could be the one to sneak into this race. We've underestimated him in the past for this series.
I mean, obviously I'm thinking about him, but the series really steered so far away from him in its third season to be really only about Evan Rachel Wood and Tandy Newton. So him getting in would be kind of a strange nomination to me.
But they like him. He got into lead when he had nothing to do last time.
No, I know he did, and he's a previous winner, and I wouldn't be surprised in any way.
I'm stirring the pot.
No. So what I want to do, though, is ask each of us, even though there are 8, who are the locks, and who do we think are like really actually vulnerable? Because if I'm looking at this, I really hate this category. I would say the locks are Bradley Whitford, Jonathan Banks, Billy Crudup, and Tom Pelphrey.
I would almost include David Harbour in that, because I can't discount the fact that they keep nominating him at SAG.
Yeah,
we'll think about it this way. They nominated him for SAG, and we'll talk about this in a few minutes. They nominated him, and they nominated Billy Crudup, and they didn't nominate Billy Porter. Think about that. That's my one reason for thinking he might be more of a lock than we're getting him credit for.
Also, too, I mean, Harbour is really the lead of this show.
But he does nothing in that season to deserve an Emmy nomination.
No, I don't think he ever has, but it's...
Well, the first season, I could see how I think that he was dealing with his child and the flashbacks. I get it, but...
Maybe. But I think he benefits from being an adult, for one.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt.
A show with kids that have actually given good performances, and, Millie Bobby Brown was nominated. Noah Schnapp should have been nominated.
Yeah.
But he benefits just from being an adult and being kind of a de facto lead and leader of these kids, especially in that third season.
Well, he has nothing to do with these kids. Half of this is.
I know, but it's.
I know. I can't discount him as like a pseudo lock because of the fact that he got in over someone like Billy Porter.
Yeah, no, I get it. I totally get it.
Steve Carell did it. Steve Carell got in, and Billy Porter didn't get nominated. We'll talk about that in a few minutes, but still, I can't.
Don't even want to talk about that. But yeah.
Well, I'm just saying you can't discount the fact that he keeps getting individual SAG Award nominations.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Kevin, who do you think are the actual locks? However many you want.
Tom Pelphrey, Jonathan Banks, I guess Billy Crudup at this point, and David Harbour.
Okay.
I'm not sure about if Bradley Whitford can make that leap from guest to supporting. I am predicting him. He is clearly an Emmy favorite and almost an Emmy darling at this point, but I don't know. It's not like a super showy kind of performance, I don't think, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And Kieran Culkin, I feel like he should have gotten in last year, so I'm kind of going back and forth on whether he really is a lock.
Yeah, I'm actually really.
I think
more-
that Kieran Culkin is one where it seems like he should be, but he's not the most likable character.
Yeah.
Where I think there is something about this is one of those categories where I don't think the people we think are the locks are
Mhm.
the winner's going to come from them. I think it's going to come from the Tom Pelphrey, the
I mean, I
Josh
think he's a
O'Connor.
lock, but yeah.
Well, I think the ones that are like a little bit softer of a lock. Like I think the Tom Pelphrey, the Josh O'Connor, the Matthew McFadyen.
Yeah.
I could see one of those three getting in here and becoming the winner, where we might have them if we were ranking these by number, ranking these a little lower because we don't know if they're going to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so scared to talk about this category here. I'm so scared to talk about this category, but here we go.
Tom Pelphrey better get nominated. I swear to God,
Well,
they didn't
yes.
nominate.
He needs to get nominated and win, but
Peter
we're gonna-
Mullen didn't get nominated. That is my one hesitant about this.
I think there's a
and
big
I
difference between those two performances.
I
But
get
yes,
it,
I
but
understand what you mean.
I think the same like one and done kind of season, where
Yeah,
it's like it all comes down to this one season of TV,
Right.
and you know that's my one problem with saying Peter that Tom Pelphrey's a lock.
I think that's fair because I think most of us had predicted him, and they kind of have similar outcomes, and that is a big Emmy favorite thing to do, and especially in supporting actor.
Especially if you die in the supporting race, you are golden for an Emmy. Like that is their favorite way to award you.
Okay, well, I hope everybody has seen the show.
Well,
and with that, let's move on to supporting actress, which I think is an absolute nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
I hate this category. It's giving me pain and ulcers, but I know who's going to win. I think I still think that this is Helena Bonham Carter's to win.
Okay, well, that's jumping ahead, but all right. Let's take
to lose. I think this is hers to lose.
Let's take a quick look, though, at what last year looked like, which had 4 Game of Thrones actresses in, and obviously they are not here this year, so that completely opens up the contention. We have Julia Garner as winner, and Fiona Shaw from Killing Eve that are eligible to return, as well as a ton of other previous winners like Uzo Aduba, Ann Dowd, Tandy Newton, and then previous nominees like Millie Bobby Brown, Chrissy Metz, Yvonne Strahovski, Samira Wiley. Samira Wiley actually won Guest Actress for Handmaid's Tale. So there is just an insane amount of movement in this. Big Little Lies went from limited series to drama series, where Laura Dern won. But the response to that second season was clearly muted at best.
Yeah.
So somebody like Laura Dern getting in would feel more like runoff from her Oscar win, or maybe not. And then obviously there is the Meryl Streep component to this fuckery of a race.
Yeah, we really didn't need her in this to make it any more complicated. No offense.
Well, because if she does get in, and I think a lot of people are predicting her, she's
Meryl Streep.
She will get in over somebody like we talked about, I think almost at the top of this, like Rhea Seehorn from Better Call Saul, who has never gotten in.
Millie Bobby Brown,
And now in a field of 8 with 4 spots open from last year, if she can't get in now, she was never in contention to get in.
Well, maybe. I mean, you never know with a Vince Gilligan show what's going to happen for the final season, and I think that's what not to defend my guest actor prediction, but I think Dean Norris is one that now that he's back in the Better Call Saul kind of Breaking Bad universe, why I have him in.
I totally get that. I get it.
I don't think you can completely say, oh, she doesn't get in this year, she'll never get in. You really don't know what kind of
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. What I said was, because there are more, if she cannot get in a field of 8, it means that she wasn't really in contention the way that a lot of people thought that she was before.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. and it would be because of somebody like say Meryl Streep getting in. And I'm still trying to figure out how to do this, how to get. My brain is melting with this category right now.
Okay, so I'll go then.
Yeah, you go first. I'll go second.
Because my brain's not melting. I have Helena Bonham Carter, The Crown, Julia Garner, Ozark, Meryl Streep and Laura Dern for Big Little Lies, Thandie Newton, Westworld, Sarah Snook, Succession, Anne McDowell, The Handmaid's Tale, and Janet McTeer for Ozark.
Okay. I have, let me make sure I have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Helena Bonham Carter, Ann Dowd, Julia Garner, Janet McTeer, Thandie Newton, Fiona Shaw, Sarah Snook, and Meryl Streep.
Yeah, Fiona Shaw, she's so lovely. She is my 9th. I want to put her in, but I also don't want to put her in just because I love her so much, and she was so sweet to talk to, and she's really enjoying becoming like a well-known.
Well, she had a little more to do, but I'm totally confused about even what to do with Killing Eve this year.
Me too.
I don't have Killing Eve at all, so that's why I couldn't put her in.
Shaw would be in 8th place in my list. Absolutely.
She's right on the cusp for me. She's 9th, but I would have to take out Laura Dern, and they do friggin' love Laura Dern.
They do, and that's the thing that's killing me is that I'm trying to figure out, should I just take out Fiona Shaw and put Laura Dern in? I don't know. Kevin, what do you got?
I have Helena Bonham Carter for The Crown, Ann Dowd for The Handmaid's Tale, Julia Garner for Ozark, Janet McTeer for Ozark, Thandie Newton for Westworld, Sarah Snook for Succession. Deep breaths, people. Yvonne Strahovski for The Handmaid's Tale.
What the
and
hell?
Meryl Streep for Big Little Lies.
I love it.
Oh my God.
I love it. No, it makes perfect
They are
sense.
watching The Handmaid's Tale. The actors love it. She
Yeah.
is a humongous part of season 3. That's just how I feel.
She does turn on her husband, so I will say that she had a lot to do in season
Big
3.
arc.
I did
Big
like
arc.
her.
Yeah.
Yes, and she would be coming in as a previous nominee, not as somebody trying to break through.
Yeah.
She kind of needed that because she wasn't able to do it in season 1, and so I think you're absolutely.
Ann Dowd has
that.
a stellar episode.
She
this
does.
season.
They basically wrote that episode for her Emmy nomination.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like, but I love that we finally got a little bit of a backstory for Ann Dowd's character, which I just was like, oh my God. But I still do believe this is Helena Bonham Carter's to lose.
I honestly think Julia Garner could still just repeat.
Yes,
They
so
don't love to repeat in this category. They're not
I
big
think she can
repeaters
do it.
in the supporting.
I think she can.
I mean, Anna Gunn did it.
Can we talk about how many Oscar nominees and winners we could have? I mean, Janet McTeer is a 2-time Oscar nominee.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah Snook, I think she could, you never know. Succession's having a big night. She could definitely be a winner.
Yeah, and there are some that we haven't even talked about. Holly Hunter
There's another one.
is
She could
possible.
sneak in.
Cynthia Erivo, if The Outsider is anything, but she seems very.
You'd have
artistic.
to pass the first 2 episodes of the Outsider.
Yeah, which are actually the best 2 episodes.
Yeah. That's the problem. Is her character's maybe a little too on the weird side.
I think the thing about her is that, yeah, I mean, she is on the outside as a personality, and it might be difficult to.
That's her character. I'm not talking about.
Her character, to kind of really be with her, but I think she's pretty fascinating, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, and I still love Samira Wiley. She wins.
What was that?
Yeah, I still think that like Samira Wiley wins like most gracious loser when she lost to Ann Dowd, and Ann Dowd,
Yeah.
she was telling her, you won, and you're like, oh my God.
And Dad's speech is still like one of the best of all time.
I really
Ooh.
hope that if Ann Dowd and Margot Martindale are nominated together, that they get the sisters together and like let them present, since I know people think they're the same person. So
That
would be
is
great.
really, that's a wild idea.
I love how they did an interview together a while ago. They're just so grateful for their careers, and
They are the queens of character actresses.
yeah, and you could obviously see one of them just sneaking into an Oscar race one year. So
Mhm.
Well, if you remember, for compliance, Ann Dowd went hardcore grassroots with her
Yeah.
own campaign and sent out screeners to people. She did the work. She Diane Ladded the shit out of that
oh
thing.
yeah, I know I'm with you on it, but I really do love both of them. So
So I want to recognize that
this
there
is
is
the hard.
there
this
is a
the
name
hardest
missing
categories.
there's a name missing from all of our lists that we
Mhm.
talked about, and that's Rhea Seehorn.
Yeah, I just feel like it's like you get burnt so often on that one. Like I think she definitely had a lot to do this season. And I could definitely see maybe a final season nomination, but for me to put her in, I have to think about Yvonne Strahovski. I have to think about
Mhm.
Millie Bobby Brown and you know, all of those actors and actresses who came back from last year.
And that's what's crazy to me. Like I said, Better Call Saul is a show that they absolutely clearly love and watch and nominate the shit out of, acting and writing, and I mean all the time. Just like Handmaid's Tale, except Handmaid's Tale is a show that can actually win things. But it still is kind of mind blowing that
After
that we
lost
have
Guest
a
Actor
spot.
last year, I'm still heartbroken over that. I just can't put her on.
You are such an interrupter, Amanda. I swear to God.
Sorry.
It's still mind blowing to me that we have 8 spots and none of us can find a spot for her in this. And they are really pushing hard for her because they know that people want to see it. They're pushing really hard.
She's the first supporting actor for TCA to be nominated. So
Yes, and that is I love that. Again, I don't give a shit what critics say compared to Emmys for the most part, but I do think that is a really fascinating stat. And I worry though because she seems so super nice, and I hate when people's hopes get up for categories. I hate that we are talking about all of these performances and then don't have any room really for like India Moore in Pose or
Angelica Ross.
Angelica Ross in
Mhm.
Pose, and because of how many episodes she was in, she is in supporting and not guest.
Yeah.
Angelica Ross would be one of the most deserving people to be in this category.
Yep.
And she is also in doing hardcore great self-promotion, and bless her heart for doing it.
Mhm.
But it's how do you go up against Meryl Streep and these previous winners? It's an uphill battle, and I think FX and the Pose team has done a tremendous job in getting their contenders out. And Kevin, I said this before, you are the absolute champion for that show in terms of what you want for it, as well as the amount of interviews that you have done
Yeah.
with people from the show. So if there was ever a chance for someone to break in other than Billy Porter, it would be now. And I would totally credit you for that, because I just think you
Yeah.
I would credit them for that. But thank you.
you know okay, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yes,
By
yes.
by having a platform and a spot for the show and for the actors on the show. So it's
They're all
I
very
I would
passionate
love
people.
for it to happen, but
Yeah.
I just feel like, unlike supporting actor, where it's like, yeah, Tom Pelphrey, breakthrough performer. I mean, like, me putting Sarah Snook in there feels like I'm like going out on a limb when you have
Hmm.
2 past Oscar nominees, multiple Oscar nominees, and 2 past winners.
Yes.
Well, current winner. We're like, okay, like seriously, how do I put somebody in there who hasn't already either won the category, or it seems like they moved to supporting strategically, like Sarah Snook, where she is the only person I have in there currently who hasn't either won this category or been an Oscar nominee.
Yes, but I did want to hear from Kevin on that, because that's who I was speaking directly to. So Kevin, what are your thoughts about Pose?
I think that is a show that the people involved with it are promoting it heavily, which distinguishes it from a lot of other shows here, and they feel great about promoting their show because they should, and it is a great show. And I mean, the Billy Porter win last year is proof enough that they have somewhat of a seat at the table, but it is an ongoing issue that the wealth of trans talent on that show will probably continue to be ignored on the whole. And it's just the reality of the situation that is really heartbreaking to me to see that. And, you know, I mean, not to be like that film versus TV person, but it sort of bums me out that we have, like we've been saying, so many Oscar nominees and winners on TV taking up all of these slots when you have this great wealth of new talent that is coming up that will just continue to be ignored.
Kim, do you think that because there are so many supporting actress contenders from Pose, that presents its own issue compared to something like Sarah Snook in Succession, or even like Julia Garner last year in Ozark, where you were able to really kind of focus on a newcomer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I do think that has coalesced, from my view, around Angelica Ross because of just what happened with that character in season 2. And she made history as the first trans actress to have 2 series regular roles, because she was also on American Horror Story. So, yeah, I think she's probably the choice there, but I would say yes, that, I mean, even like Dominique Jackson is such a classic scene-stealing supporting actress that just doesn't have a shot in hell. And it's like, it just bums me out.
And I wonder, too, if some of that comes from the idea that for most of the actresses on this show, this is their biggest thing that they've ever had. This is where most people will have seen them for the first time.
Yep.
And I wonder, because, like we said, we are looking at very established actors in this race. That's being almost held against them, that they're not viewed the same. So they're not looking so much at performance. They're looking at, is this somebody that I know?
Right. Totally.
Well, and I would just say, you know, in general, with the exception of like Julia Garner and maybe Katherine Heigl, who won this category way back when, this is a category that prefers actors of a certain age.
Yeah.
Who've had careers, who've had long established careers. And, you know, say what you will about women who've had Oscar nominations. Susan Kelechi Watson, she's had a great year. We haven't mentioned her. There's a lot of people. Unfortunately, it's such a rich category on the women's side. I mean, there's a few women from Westworld that would be great nominees in this series.
Yeah. Gugu and Bhattacharya from The Morning Show should be kind of, a part of this as well. But it's again, and I just kind of keep coming back
J.
to
Smith Cameron from Succession.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
That would be, well, that's a perfect example of the possibility of the leap from one season to the next for a show, which we see all the time. Look at Killing Eve. Look at Killing Eve's first season to second season in nominations. And we see it happen all the time. And I know we're going to see it with Succession as well, even though the damn L to the OG was not submitted, and I'm really still upset about that. But
I mean, even like Shailene Woodley, she was a nominee. We haven't even mentioned her for Big Little Lies. She was nominated for the limited series.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to happen, but you're talking about somebody who is at least somewhat kind of on their radar.
Well, Alexander Skarsgård won.
Yeah,
we didn't even talk about him in the
because he appears in like flashbacks. He doesn't do anything.
But it doesn't matter.
That's true. He could happen. I mean, it's unfortunate. It's just
Ellen Burstyn got in for 15 seconds.
Yep.
Things happen if they want them to happen, because the Emmys are crazy. They are crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think we might have gone through like all of the realistic possibilities in this, but
Yeah.
I did not want to leave this category without talking about Pose, and we will again in actress because it's I don't like when we get caught in our own bubble of conversation and of predictions, and being so unwilling to move and shake from that because it feels safe, because that's exactly what voters do.
Yeah.
If voters are only going to vote for the people that they feel comfortable and safe with, we're not going to get really inspired nominations from shows that they probably are watching.
And then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. It's exactly that. And it doesn't
where we're
matter if
saying
it's
these
us.
are the only people in the conversation, and therefore voters are thinking the same thing, assuming they listen to us. Probably not.
Well, the voting's closed, so they're not listening anymore.
Not now, but
No. But
that's
I mean,
been the discussion for so long.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
But I will say, for somebody like Rhea Seehorn, sometimes we do see people come in the next year when everyone thought they were going to get in the year before. So there is, if you're holding out hope for that, then
which the same could be said for Susan Kelechi Watson.
yeah, absolutely.
I think they were both in the same boat last year. Yeah,
you just see them bounce back where maybe Game of Thrones sucked up all the air, and you never know.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to lead actor in a drama series. There are 6 spots here, and let's take a look at last year. Billy Porter was the winner. He is eligible again. Jason Bateman, Sterling K. Brown, Bob Odenkirk, Milo Ventimiglia, all nominated last year, all eligible again this year. The only from last year that's not is Kit Harington from Game of Thrones. Idris Elba for Luther has been nominated 4 times in lead actor as a limited series. It is now in drama. I think it's a pretty big long shot, but that is a possibility. Rami Malek is a winner here for his first season of Mr. Robot, but it was also the only time he was nominated. It's just had its final season, and he is a maybe possibility. And I know that at least when we get to, where the nominees are, Amanda, we can talk about the trend of this category, which I do think is absolutely fascinating.
First or last.
Yep.
First or last, I think.
And for Bob Odenkirk, we won't go into it too much. I won't say too much about it. But for Bob Odenkirk and even for Jason Bateman, they need this to hold out for them for 2 more years.
Yes.
They want this to last 1 more year. So if they have to lose to somebody like Tobias Menzies, they'd rather have that happen so Bob Odenkirk could have a chance at the next season and then for the second half of the final season of Ozark for Bateman. So for both of them, they want this to hold at this point.
Yes, and I think where we can have that conversation actually is right here in the nominees, because if we are looking forward to how that trend is going, then we have to look at who is a potential winner that qualifies in that first or last, and there are very few that actually do, that seem like realistic nominees. In fact, the potential contenders in this category that do fall into that are really far outside of my top 6. So this could be a broken trend year for sure.
It could be, depending on who's nominated.
Well, exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, so who do you have as your 6th, Amanda?
I have gone over this, and I will just say this right now. I don't have either Billy Porter or Jodie Comer in either of mine. And I'll go back to this again with Billy Porter. How did he miss SAG when Harbour, Crudup, and Carell got in? I just can't look past it. So my 6 are Brian Cox, Jeremy Strong for Succession, Jason Bateman, Ozark, Bob Odenkirk, hang in there for next year, Better Call Saul, Sterling K. Brown, This Is Us, and Tobias Menzies, The Crown.
Well, the thing about the SAG thing, and I know you really hold on to it,
I'm a SAG expert. I have to hold on to it.
You
so.
can be, but it's not the same calendar year, and things are just really, really different. So I really, again, I don't look at the Emmys as the same way that I do the Oscars, and I really, they feel like their own entity. They come at a completely different time of year, and they have a different calendar eligibility.
I get that, but Sterling K. Brown still got nominated.
Sure.
I just, a lot of people, their first seasons don't get nominated for SAG, so it made sense last year why he didn't get nominated and won the Emmy. I cannot get past it for the second year. I get your argument. I think the
I get yours.
Carell of it all. I get the Steve Carell of it all, like getting in, not getting, but I cannot get past the fact that they let not only just Billy Crudup and David Harbour, but Peter Dinklage, another support. Peter Dinklage had been nominated so many times before, but the only lead performer in that was really Sterling K. Brown. So I can't ignore it, and the fact that show has no industry support is another problem.
Yeah, and Steve Carell is one of those weird examples of a first season contender, and it's just bizarre.
Well, I would also point out that John Krasinski got nominated and didn't get an Emmy nomination. So it's one of those things where you're like, one of these isn't going to get nominated. Let's see which of the five. I think we'll go with the one. I think Peter Dinklage has a better chance of getting nominated than Steve Carell.
Yeah. Okay, here are my six: Jason Bateman, Sterling K. Brown, Brian Cox, Tobias Menzies, Bob Odenkirk, and Billy Porter. Sorry, Jeremy Strong. And
bummer.
Milo Ventimiglia. Kevin, who do you got?
Jason Bateman, Ozark, Sterling K. Brown, This Is Us, Brian Cox, Succession, Bob Odenkirk, Better Call Saul, Billy Porter, Pose, and Jeremy Strong, Succession.
Ooh.
I'm very nervous about this category. I have this awful gut feeling that Steve Carell will show up on Emmy nomination morning, and I'll be mad about it, but I won't be surprised. It's heartbreaking to not have Tobias Menzies here, but I wonder if that's just too subtle of a role. I'm really struggling here.
I think what helps Tobias Menzies is that he might be in the series front runner for Netflix.
Not when Ozark is there, but okay.
No, he's
well,
I disagree. Yeah,
but top three, sure. Yeah.
This is a really unique year for this category because without like a Steve Carell or Ben Mendelsohn for The Outsider, we don't have that first or last contender.
Al Pacino for Hunters.
Yeah, well, okay.
Well, you have to have two things. Let's back this up just to deny that. You have to have your series nominated, and you have to be either your first or last. So if Al Pacino gets in and the series isn't nominated, that's not going to do him any good.
Yeah,
sure, and then that's why Steve Carell is really like he is the spoiler here. You're definitely right, Kevin. The Tobias Menzies thing sort of works for that. It's not the first season of the show, but it's his first year.
Right.
So he's the closest to that. But it would be a remarkably subtle performance win for that to happen. So I'm not really sure that I see it. But I feel terrible for not having Jeremy Strong in. But again, there would be some kind of like
Strong did get his TCA nomination over Brian Cox. So
I don't care about that.
I know. I'm just providing.
Did he get a
and he won a Critics' Choice.
None of them got SAG nominations.
Okay. Well then.
Yeah. So there you go.
There you go.
Again, it makes me very nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah. This category could go a lot of ways, but yeah.
Justin Hartley made the jump up from supporting to lead for This Is Us.
At the wrong time.
I wouldn't hate it, but I will say this: he has been deserving. And when Chris Sullivan got into supporting last year, I did feel really bad for him. So if that happened, like Mandy Moore is like, yeah, sure, you're not going to win, but enjoy the night. Like,
yeah. This is a tough category.
It's tough, but I do, Rami Malek's a possibility.
Yeah, exactly. That would be extremely weird.
I think Mr. Robot's far more likely to get a writing nomination for their no talking episode than they are for Rami Malek to get in.
Which the Emmy writing branch loves to do.
Yeah, that's what I have
yeah.
that in there. Spoiler alert. That's my big Mr. Robot.
Yeah.
But if you're Jason Bateman and you're Bob Odenkirk, you want this trend to hold one more year.
That'll be a
Especially
really...
Bob Odenkirk.
I think Odenkirk makes such sense as the final season winner type of person.
Yeah,
like,
Vince
completely.
Gilligan's got like this Black Swan,
Yeah.
like crazed final episode planned for him. So I would, if only for one more season. I don't care if Tobias Menzies makes sense on. At least then I could go into it thinking, yes.
Yeah,
Here
but
we go, Bobby.
here's the thing about Ozark. It's splitting its final season.
Yeah, so it'll have two. So
So-
not this time, but the next time. So
yeah, it's gonna have
after.
2 more years to compete.
Yeah. But so that would mean like if it airs the season next year, it would be the year after 2022. So for both of them, they want this to hold 2 more years. If you're Jason Bateman, you want this to hold.
Yeah,
And-
even though I'm sure people other than us are not really thinking about it like this, and again, this is also something that always gets us into trouble, is that we totally, micromanage the history and trends of things in a way that actual voters never do. But it's
But 9 years isn't a coincidence.
guideline.
9 years is a pattern. 9 years is a
Yes.
pattern.
No,
It's the same thing with like best actress in a comedy and best comedy series lining up. Whereas like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense on paper when you've got 5 years of Veep and Julia and Rachel Brosnahan and Phoebe Waller-Bridge winning in their series to go that way. It's just one of those things where right now we have to consider this possibility where if they're all second season or above, then we're really going to have a race on our hands where it will be a definite interesting category.
Oh my goodness. Any final thoughts there before we move to?
No, I want to talk
lead
about
actress?
actresses.
Jeremy
my
Strong's
God.
episode is the one they submitted for writing and directing, so I would look out for him.
Okay.
I think he's the one that could win. Like, he's so much better.
Okay.
Right.
Oh my God. Okay, here we go. Lead actress in a drama
Oh
series.
my God.
We should probably do last, but whatever.
Yeah.
This category is crazy. 5 of 7 nominees from last year are eligible this year, including the winner, Jodie Comer. Emilia Clarke is not, obviously. Robin Wright is not. Claire Danes could come back for the final season of Homeland. She was really good. She's a 2-time winner. Nicole Kidman, just like everybody else from Big Little Lies, is now in drama from limited series. So we have Reese Witherspoon. We have Kidman, who won over Witherspoon. Evan Rachel Wood is eligible. She's been nominated twice here. And then we have brand new people like Jennifer Aniston and Olivia Colman and Viola Davis, previous winner, who has a really, really good submission if she gets in.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah.
We have Sandra Oh, previous nominee. We have MJ Rodriguez from Pose, who had a fantastic year. There is a lot of potential here.
Zendaya.
Yeah.
Yes.
For child pornography.
Thank you. For what?
For what?
Let's
move on.
Okay, yeah, I'm just going to move on from that. And let's go right to predictions, and then we can talk about our who's, whys, and hows, and all of that. Kevin, I will let you go first.
Okay. Jennifer Aniston for The Morning Show. Olivia Colman for The Crown. Jodie Comer for Killing Eve, but I don't feel great about it. Viola Davis for How to Get Away with Murder. Laura Linney for Ozark. And Elizabeth Moss for The Handmaid's Tale.
I will go next because I have the exact same 6.
Oh, boy.
Exactly the same. And weirdly, I feel kind of comfortable about it, with the exception of Jodie Comer, just like you.
Yeah.
I think what made Jodie Comer's performance and role so great in season 2 is everything that's wrong about it in season 3.
Yeah.
Bottle episode didn't do it for you? Oh my god.
No, it did not at all.
I killed the
even
whole
though
season.
even though it feels like it's completely written to be like a submission.
Yeah.
I
Killed the
just
entire season.
I loved the first season. I liked the second season a lot, and it was a really great place for Jodie Comer to have so much fun, and for the audience to kind of have fun with this insane, despicable person. But I just think that the third season did that sort of like the way like a sequel will need to try and one up everything that was in the movie before it,
Yeah.
and come back with diminishing results. And that's how I felt from the beginning of this. And everybody else around Comer, I felt, was doing a little better.
Fiona Shaw was the MVP of that season.
Fiona Shaw is fantastic. Harriet, oh my God, I'm forgetting her
Harriet
name.
Walter. Yes.
Harriet Walter,
Yeah.
who is also the mother in Succession.
Mhm.
She's kind of cartoony, and her accent's really cartoony, but she's great, and she has a really neat role.
Oh yeah, she's
Um,
great too.
And I mean, I wonder if she would be able to get in somewhere, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I'm holding back on Comer because I don't know how voters are going to feel. Sometimes voters really like the same thing over and over again. Helen Hunt won like 4 fucking Emmys.
We're back
for
to Helen
playing the
Hunt.
Same thing. I'm telling you, it's
Yeah,
always
but that
going to come
was
back to
a
Helen
way-
Hunt for me. So the Emmys have proven a history that they do like the same thing over and over again sometimes. But I wonder if that will not be the case here. Yeah.
I think it could go one of two ways. I think it's like Jodie Comer is like Tatiana Maslany, where she just always has the passion to get into this
No.
category. Or it's like Rami Malek, where they're like, great, we awarded you, done, bye.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's like they love the character. They did it. We've been there, done that. Now
Yeah.
we're going to move on, because I think the thing is that Tatiana Maslany is always impressive in Orphan Black.
Well, that's true, but BBC
Yeah, I mean, you're
America
playing
connection.
5 people.
Yeah.
You're playing 5 people. So,
But I think that's a perfect example, because that was the kind of thing that was at first you're like, wow, this is totally amazing and wonderful, and look what she's doing, but then it was just like, oh, okay, so what else is there? You've already played 7 different people. What else is there?
So, do you want me to give my
Yes,
6?
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so my 6 are Olivia Colman, Laura freaking Linney Ozark. That's like her new middle initial, Laura effing Linney. She is so amazing. Jennifer Aniston, The Morning Show, Elizabeth Moss, The Handmaid's Tale, Viola Davis, How to Get Away with Murder. And then I'm going to put Nicole Kidman in for Big Little Lies. Sorry, Comer. You're boring.
So, since Kevin and I have the same 6, and you, Amanda, look like really close to what we have, and for almost the same reasons, would Jodie Comer be your 7th?
Yeah.
Kevin, who's your 7th?
Nicole Kidman.
Same.
So, yeah.
And my
That's kinda
8th would be Claire Danes.
Wow.
For,
Okay.
I'm just,
I think my 8th
as
would be
like all
Sandra
wrong.
Oh. My 8th
Well,
would be
I mean,
Sandra
as far
Oh.
as like we're all wrong. So.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I get that.
I'm also kind of low-key terrified of Reese Witherspoon in The Morning Show. Not gonna lie.
mm,
I would be so upset at that
that
nomination.
just disgusts me.
Like,
Yeah.
so upset.
Yeah.
It's a really bad performance, and she's really miscast.
Yeah, like she should have put Shailene Woodley or someone in there for that.
Anyway.
I mean, Aniston is actually a pretty bad performance, too, but
I think she's okay. But anyway.
she's
Aniston's ability to win will come down to whether or not the series gets nominated.
And Amanda, you did yours in order, right?
Yeah,
So you had Coleman, Linney, Aniston, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Kevin and I did
I
ours
think Lenny.
alphabetically.
What helps Lenny is she does something we've never seen her do before. and she would be wise to submit the final episode. She is so good, and if Tobias Menzies doesn't get in, I might predict Jason Bateman to win. I do.
I'm pretty far out with Linny as a winner here. I think she could submit 8, 9, or 10, and
I think 10 would be her best chance because you get more of what she's done, and then she has that big scene against Julia Garner.
Well, and also too, depending on what Tom Pelfrey submits, which will obviously be just
He'll probably submit 9.
Yeah,
It has to
either
be
8 or
Firebank.
9.
The one thing I would remind Linny of is that she's great in 9. Absolutely. You're right. She's great 8, 9, 10. But the problem with her submitting 9 is the same problem that Bryan Cranston had submitting Crawl Space. He's amazing. He's a Shakespearean villain. The problem is he's not in the first half. That's the problem with 9. Whereas 10, you get to see the action of, like, he's turned on her brother, she's drinking, she's in bed, given up, to telling off.
So what I was going to say though, the reason that it would be strategic for her to say submit 10 is because Pelfrey will be able to submit 8 or 9, and that is also a fantastic showcase for Linny. So that boosts her. And this is at least in, the old days of doing this, when submissions and tapes were really important. You could play an extremely strategic game, especially as a supporting player, by having an episode that was primarily you and not competitive against another supporting player. You could be as a lead performer, submit an episode that you're also that really is your episode, but it depends on if these are personal
West Wing
decisions.
was really good at that. Yeah.
It depends on if these are personal decisions or if they are network decisions, because that is also something that used to come in play. Edie Falco never used to pick her own submissions. HBO did it for her. She was never a part of that, and she would always be like, I don't care and I don't know. And she had what, at least for like almost a decade, we would refer to in doing this as a Whitecaps episode. And that was an episode that was so absolutely locked in solid that you were going to win, period. And I mean, obviously that was for her, and that's why it was called that. But I don't know if submissions are as important as they used to be.
Well, Olivia Colman, I think like just speaking about this, since this is one of the categories where we see a lot of overlap, is that the difference between HBO and Netflix is HBO has one play on the drama side, and that's Succession. It doesn't matter if they got three of their series in or 6. It's Succession. Where Netflix's problem is it Ozark or is it The Crown? Because The Crown could still have more nominations than Ozark. So they don't know which one to back. And I do think that, they are in a position where it's like, Janet McTeer, she's going to play Princess Margaret in a season.
Mm-hmm.
Olivia Colman has been on the cusp of winning an Emmy for so long that it just, when she lost that SAG award, I was the person going, yes, she's not going to fall to the same curse that Sandra Oh fell to last year. I was like, good for you, Aniston. Coleman can win now. So that is, I'm horrible. I know. I know I'm horrible. But it is one of those situations where it's like, what does Netflix push? Is it Olivia Colman or is it Laura Linney?
It's Laura Linney.
I don't know.
If I was giving advice, I would say Laura Linney.
I think Aberfan I still think there is a chance that Coleman could pull this off because she does have this cool factor to her.
So I think Coleman will most likely. I mean, I would be like 99% sure that she's going to submit Aberfan, and that is where the show is putting all of its hopes on, is that episode. It is, the whole episode is written around the Queen's initial inaction and then sympathy for, and then as the episode closes, the epilogue is that, you know, this moment in history was the thing that she regretted most, and it's all kind of created around this. Yeah. Exactly. It
I
gives
do think
her
it's really
that.
moving. I do think it's moving in a way that like there is a sense that she has given up feelings, and she is right. She's right that if the Queen did go there, they would be trying to protect her and not trying to get these kids out.
Yes.
There is a reason and a logic behind why she wouldn't rush to the scene.
Yeah, no, it's a really good episode, and it's very clear why, you know, it was what they're submitting for writing and directing, and where they're going. That's what they want, is that episode to be kind of the centerpiece of the season. But I still think Lenny's winning.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, this is a race for Netflix. Netflix has got to be giddy about this.
I think so. I think so.
Where I could see just a little bit of doubt is, I think Olivia Colman in the crowd is perhaps more sympathetic overall than Laura Linney in season 3, where she's really gone in deep with that. But
she does give up her own brother. I mean, that is not a very sympathetic.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I still think Laura Linney is kind of the like, I don't know, maybe a weak front runner. I think she just got so much amazing press for season 3, and
yes, and that fantastic interview with me.
Yes.
No, what I really love about Linney and her chances is that, I mean, she is a 4-time winner, and
true,
in 3 different categories. A win here would be yet
and she's
another
never won when she was expected to win. That's also something.
Yeah, she does have like a couple of really shocking
she
wins.
has Jessica Lange's Emmy. She's got Felicia Rashad's Emmy.
Ouch.
Well, I'm just saying, like, when you look at some of those races, it's like, yeah, Felicia Rashad's gonna win, and
I would agree.
And it's going to be for Asylum, you know. Jessica Lange's going to win second for American Horror Story. Mm-hmm. She is known for this, for like when you don't think she's going to win.
Yeah. So that's why there's an Allison Janney element of this to her, or like Alfre Woodard, who's, you know, won or been nominated in all different categories because she's just like that insane and crazy and awesome. And I think Linney is similar in that, and she'll have, you know, another category in which she has a win in, and she can just keep dominating for the rest of her life. I
picked her to win last year, so I'm not really.
I'm glad that she didn't win last year, because this year is just so much more for her.
That's true.
I just knew that Sandra Oh unfortunately wasn't going to win, and I just couldn't figure out who was going to beat her. And then my worst scenario happened, because it's always bad when you lose when you've won everything else. It's horrible when you lose to your co-star.
Yeah.
I'm sure she was happy for her, but I know what you mean.
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, you know, Fiona Shaw says, like, you know, she's really happy for her. We were all thrilled for her, but she's got a few Golden Globes. But yeah, it's definitely not what they thought was going to be the result after, you know, O's won everything throughout the year.
Yeah.
It's tough for anyone to win everything and then lose at the end.
Don't I know it?
Close.
Yeah.
We don't have to go there.
I know. Coleman's like, what the hell happened? Close is like, yeah, I can't even smile and pretend to be happy for you.
Yes. Do we have any final thoughts for lead actress in a drama series?
This is the most competitive category, and whoever gets in could win. But I have a question.
Yeah, I mean, Viola Davis, I think, is also someone who is a contender.
I love that. I think you're absolutely right.
But, you know, I think we all think Elizabeth Moss is safe, but I could see a scenario where we're all like, what? Huh?
I can't.
That would be crazy.
But I'm just saying, like, somebody that we think's in but's not going to win could, like, be snubbed because it's so competitive.
No, she said even a successful film year in a year without movie theaters, so
No, I mean, I know, but maybe like, I don't know. I'm just thinking somebody could be snubbed in this one and it wouldn't even be really a snub.
Yeah.
yeah, that's fair. All right. Well, then I guess we're going to close out with drama series where
Here
there
we
will
go.
be 8 nominations,
Ugh.
and 6 of the 8 from last year are returning. The only ones that are not are Game of Thrones and Bodyguard. And let's see, Better Call Saul has been nominated for all 4 of its seasons. This Is Us has been nominated for all 3 of its seasons. And Handmaid's Tale is eligible again. Crown is eligible again. Stranger Things, Westworld, Homeland could come back in a really crazy way. Big Little Lies, as has been said, is now a drama series. So we have really, I think if we're being realistic, only one major brand new show, and that would be The Morning Show.
Ugh.
That's kind of a weird thing with this category, especially when you look at the rest of the categories that have so many more potential, like first time or first season contenders. That's not the case with the top category. So I almost feel like 1, 2, 3. Do I have mine? No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I had 10. So I have to pull out 2. Oh my God. Okay, I'm pulling out 1. Who's ready?
I'm ready.
I've been ready.
I'll go.
I'm so
So
scared.
this
All
is
right,
simple.
go.
We talked about this last time, and I think we were all close, but we had like maybe one show each on the edge.
I feel like
Again,
it's pretty good.
My 8 are Succession, The Crown, Ozark, Better Call Saul, The Handmaid's Tale, Stranger Things, Westworld, Big Little Lies. And if gun to my head, I had to pick a 9th, I would go with This Is Us.
Huh. Okay. Go ahead, Kevin.
Nothing to do with quality.
I
more
can do
about
mine.
that.
I have mine too, though.
All right. So I've been just, again, tearing my hair out over this. But I have Better Call Saul, The Crown, The Handmaid's Tale, The Morning Show, Ozark, Pose, Stranger Things, and Succession.
Oh my God.
What in the heck?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm so scared.
I can't do it. It doesn't have any industry support. I can't do it.
Scared. Well, you don't have to do it. You already did your.
I know. I mean, I like Pose. I
think I have the same as you, Kevin. Better Call Saul, The
Really?
Crown, Handmaid's Tale, Morning Show, Ozark, Pose, Stranger Things, Succession.
Oh, Jesus.
So the thing about Pose that gives me some confidence is that it is the main push for FX. It's where they have sent all their focus, and I think that can do really well. It does great for Better Call Saul. That's where I am kind of putting that backing in, and in doing so I've got The Morning Show in, and we have This Is Us out and Westworld out. Oh boy.
I just think Pose is the type of show that will have a solid chunk of voters advocating for it, feeling good about voting for it, not only because of who it centers on, but because it massively improved in quality in season 2, in my opinion. Got rid of Evan Peters and Kate Mara and James Van Der Beek, just focused on that cast. I understand it doesn't have industry support. It didn't get Billy Porter for SAG. I just think it's one of those X factor variables that 2020 is going to impact its chances here. And maybe it's a little bit of hope dicting, and I've, again, as we've said, kind of been in this sphere of talking to everyone from Pose and championing everyone from Pose, but it got in last year when it didn't have a lot of stuff leading up to that either, and so
But it got in when like all of those other shows had taken a year off. That's why I'm not picking Killing Eve. I mean, Killing Eve and I think Pose were the benefactors of this, like, oh, we're not going to compete with Game of Thrones, so we're going to take the year off.
I think that's an interesting point, and we all do not have Killing Eve on here. I think also too, when you look at our lists, Kevin, and having Pose on there, it is the only show that does not have an all-white led cast.
Yeah.
The only thing that comes close to that is This Is Us, but it's Sterling K. Brown, and he's holding all of that up on his own shoulders.
Well, and I think that's network TV too. I mean, you just never know. That's network TV's only chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought about
Or
This Is Us
basic
for
cable, where like
Yeah.
that's my problem is like basic cable. If I was gonna bump Big Little Lies for something, and I like Pose, I would put Big Little Lies. I would put This Is Us in. I can't take. There's just a few factors, and maybe I'm being a little too realistic with what I'm picking. I mean, my picks are really boring compared to yours.
I don't think they're boring. I don't think ours are even outrageous. I don't think Pose In is that risky of a choice.
But where
It
else
sort
is
of
it going
is,
to get nominated? I mean, it got 2 nominations last year.
No, it didn't even get costume. So yeah, that's the thing.
That's my problem with it from last year's. It's not the subject matter. It's just that where is it going to get any other support?
That's the thing. It has to improve, I think, from last year's nominations really to be able to do that. God, I think it's so crazy though, keeping This Is Us out, because it's done so well.
My problem is that This Is Us didn't get a SAG Award nomination. I mean, I know I sound like a broken record with that. I get it. You don't have to tell me. It's one of those things where it's like you win 2 years in a row and then you just get dropped. It reminds me of what happened to Modern Family.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where I'm like, I can't ignore it.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Its support rests solely on the acting branch. The acting branch has to get it into that category.
Which is the biggest branch.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
where all of their past support has come from.
Yeah.
And all 3 seasons of that show has had humongous acting support in the nominations, just every single year.
Yeah,
Like-
we didn't even talk about Asante Black as a possibility for like a supporting acting nomination.
Yes. Yeah.
That's not completely out of this world, considering he did get in last year for limited series actor, supporting actor. So it is one of those things where it's like, oh, again, if I would put it in my top 10, it would not be my 9th. My 9th would again be This Is Us. Well, my 10th might be The Morning Show. I don't. I don't know.
It's weird because the show only got the casting nomination for its first season, and the first and third season had like 7 acting nominations, and the second season had 1, 2, 3, 4. So it had that weird dip, and then it came back in a really crazy way in its
And it got Mandy Moore in, it got Chris Sullivan in, it got we don't know, it could still dominate the guest categories to the point where we're like, damn.
But to your point, something like The Handmaid's Tale not being eligible in those top categories is probably what allowed something like Mandy Moore in, which is no offense to her in any way.
Or Pose, or getting into the top category as far as series is concerned, like The Crown.
Yeah, I think it's fair and realistic to look at things like that, because you have to look at it for what it was in that individual year. But it's a tough category.
Yeah.
It is tough, and whatever 8 gets in will be deserving. So.
And so we all have The Morning Show, right?
No, I don't.
You didn't. Okay.
No.
Despite its SAG nomination?
It didn't get an ensemble nomination.
I know. But Big Little Lies did, and that was
it should have gotten an ensemble nomination when you consider the fact that it got 3 individual nominations. So
That's
sometimes That's the problem is that sometimes when you do SAG, like, you get an ensemble nod where it's like, yeah, of course they went with the star-studded cast. So
Yes.
it is difficult to say, but
And that's why SAG is crazy. Because
yeah,
there's
SAG is crazy,
no logic.
but I can't discount. I just can't completely overlook it. And again, HBO doesn't care, frankly, because they would love to get 3 series nominated, woo! But Succession is their play. It's like Netflix. Netflix has Ozark and The Crown, and they would love for Stranger Things to get in, woo! But they don't care if it happens or not because it's not going to win.
Yeah, but it does pretty well just on its own, so we'll see how it does this year.
I think the thing that helps The Crown, that helps something like Westworld and Stranger Things, is they're going to have below the line support. Remember when Game of Thrones was gone that first time, they split the categories that typically go to Game of Thrones each. They went 5 each. So you can't underestimate something like that.
Yes.
And we might be underestimating as a whole the Westworld's ability to get acting nominations. Because it got 4 its first season, 5 its second season. We could be severely discounting that series.
I think it's very possible, but the thing that holds me back from that is that Succession was clearly the heir apparent, so to speak, for HBO and not Westworld. And I think that's kind of the reason why I'm sure all of us have positioned Succession actors above Westworld.
Yeah, but I don't think any of us would be like, how the hell did Jeffrey Wright get in? It's like, okay, yeah, he got in for the 3rd season.
No.
How the hell did Evan Rachel Wood get in? It's like, okay, yeah, she got in again. Like, I don't think any of us would be like shocked. Like,
not at all.
It wouldn't be like Katrina Balfe finally getting in. We're like, how the hell did that happen? No offense, I love Outlander, but it wouldn't be one of those where like, how did this finally happen?
Talk about an internet show, my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying it's not like one of those where it's like we couldn't see how in the realm of possibilities Westworld scores a couple acting nominations, does so well below the line, and sneaks back into drama series.
Yeah. My goodness. Well, we have pushed past 3 hours, which is longer than I was hoping to keep you guys because, we do actually have lives and stuff. But do you have any closing thoughts on drama series?
I'm just nervous about, honestly, all of these categories, including limited and comedy, because I don't know what 2020, how that will impact things, whether they will default to their old favorites, or whether they will have discovered so many shows that they wouldn't have otherwise, or if it's just going to be a mix of both.
I think you bring up a really good point and something that we probably should have asked, and that is that because voters are stuck at home, the chance of seeing more things is much higher than maybe just, the 10 shows that they watch on a regular basis. So that could give us the inspired nominations that we are hoping for.
Like Pose, which just came on Netflix, season 2.
Exactly. And we have also seen the history of that being very successful for a show.
Yeah.
I don't care what happens. They can draw names out of a hat as long as Catherine O'Hara wins. Honestly, they could just randomly draw a name out of the hat for every other category as long as Catherine O'Hara wins for Schitt's Creek.
Can't wait for Helen Hunt.
What?
Helen Hunt is coming.
God damn it.
She will be drawn out of that hat.
No.
No, I'm setting that hat on fire.
They can do whatever the hell they want in every other category as long as Catherine O'Hara wins. And I'll be like, yep, sure.
Works for me.
Knock yourself out.
I am releasing you from captivity
Thank you.
of this podcast, both participants and listeners. Kevin, please tell everybody where they can find you on the internet.
You can find me on Twitter at Kevin_Jacobson. If you want to hear more ramblings from myself, I do have a podcast, and The Runner-Up Is, where both of my lovely podcast mates here have been on multiple times.
Yeah, but not talking about Citizen Kane. We're not good enough for that one.
It's the best. I love that podcast, and I love to talk about it all the time.
Thanks.
Amanda, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Amanda Spears. Again, my Instagram is mostly pictures of my dogs, but to each their own.
And you can find
We
me
all have to have hobbies.
you can find me at awards _ watch on Twitter, AwardsWatch on Instagram. And look forward in the days coming after this comes out to published official predictions that will also include writing and directing of all of these series categories. And that's when we'll really start pulling our hair out.
Mm-hmm.
Bum,
So,
bum, bum.
yes, and that will give us enough time before the July 28th nominations come out. We still don't know how those are being revealed or who is doing them, but we probably will pretty soon, as well as what the actual outcome of the Emmy broadcast is going to be. So, Amanda, Kevin, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Goodbye.